Pirates Full Level System, Chapter 321 to 340. Chapter 321 It's All Garbage. At this moment, a head protruded from the surrounding forest of trees. A dark green giant python with 3 sarcomas on its head snaked over, groped for a few sips, it stretched out its nose and inhaled the altar. The one above was wrapped like a zongzi. After confirming that there was no problem, he opened his bloody mouth with 2 squeaks. Eat. He directly ate Chin Luo in one bite. He raised his head and let out a loud cry, sliding Chin Luo from his throat into his stomach. Ha ha, arrogant blue sea pirates, you are still alive this time. Mountain Ghost, thanks to your blow. Next, we will march into the Holy Land, restore the Holy Land, and under the blessing of God, Shandia will be revived. Now. The chief hated this young man so much that he didn't take his god in his eyes at all, and even threw their god of Shandia out. He is also the one who laughs the most among all. The gods gave the power of the mountain ghost, defeated this person, and ate this person as a sacrifice. The people of Shandia will only trust the gods more, and he will be able to control Shandia through gods in the future. Whoever dislikes them will use the will of the gods to eliminate them. Ha ha ha, he laughed arrogantly. Everyone present was rejoicing, and everyone felt extremely excited because of the victory of this battle for the gods. Their god of Shandia is indeed the most powerful god. Trash. The chief was chanting obscure words and suddenly a voice came from the stomach of the huge python. All the Shandians were devoutly listening to the chief chanting the prayer mantra. I seem to have heard a sound in the belly of the big python. Gonfuer said suddenly. It was a very weak sound, as if it was a sound that came out through layers of obstacles, and the sound came out and fell. When it reached his ears, the voice was so weak that he felt that he was hallucinating. Yeah, Pierre seemed to call out in response. Shut up, Raider Ganfer. The chief was rude because the other party was praying, especially when the other party said that he heard Orochi's belly. Is your name Orochi's name? You should be called a god. Say it again. Just now that person was beaten to death by the mountain ghost Wayapa. The dead person can't speak. Even if he is really alive, he can't move if he eats it in the belly of the great god, and he will directly turn into stomach acid in a few days. The pirate of the blue sea doesn't seem to be dead. He has spoken. Ganfer pointed at the big python tremblingly, and said with a trembling in his mouth. Ganfer, are you afraid of our gods? You are afraid. You want to submit to our gods. It's okay. You just say it. Don't say anything. The blue sea pirates are not dead or something. Excuses show his weakness. Because this is too illogical. The blue sea pirate has become a corpse. How can a corpse speak? The chief and Ganfort looked at each other, and then took the attitude of the winner. A dig at Ganfort. The chief comforted himself, and just when he dispelled his fear, there was a burst of laughter from the direction of the big python. It's rubbish. Sky Island is rubbish. As if in order to completely slap the face of the chief in front of him, there was another disdainful voice. This voice seemed even more icy, as if the god of death from hell used his sickle to rub against the icy wall. The whole body trembled. No, it's impossible. Bram, go and see what happened. The chief couldn't believe it. He clearly saw the mountain ghost hitting Chin Luo's chest directly with a shock shell before killing Chin Luo. His heart stopped and he gave a fatal blow. Naturally, he didn't believe it, so he asked Bram to come and visit. Bram took a step back in shock. He didn't dare to go up to visit. If the blue sea pirate is not dead, it is not something he can withstand. Who is it, playing gods and ghosts here? The chief turned around abruptly and shouted to the people around him. Hee, old guy, do you think a mere python wants to trap me? Show me clearly. At this time, Chin Luo's voice fell into the ear of the chief, one after another, like a muffled hammer, hitting the chief's chest. He froze and turned his head in disbelief, as if he heard the scariest words in the world. Ow! Without warning, the arrogant python kept squirming up its throat, twisted and struggled on the ground, and the speed of squirming on the throat accelerated. After a while, the arrogant python directly opened its bloody mouth, and its flesh was full of protection. Chin Luo, who was born, walked out of the big mouth of the blood basin lightly, as easily as walking out of the gate of the Grand View Garden. He casually placed the rope tied around himself on the front teeth of the python's mouth. Qin Luo rolled over and stood on the python's body. With a slight shake, the rope in his hands seemed to be the reins on the horse's body. The same, put it on the body of the python. The chief just turned his head and saw this scene, a scene where even the gods would surrender. Bass, a ray of light flashed, and a shining fist of death fell directly into the chief's abdomen. Ah! Before the chief could shout, his abdomen seemed to be directly stabbed by a nine-toothed rake. Obviously, the attack was only in the abdomen, but the internal organs seemed to be hit by a nail, and a piercing pain spread out from the nail. Between breathing, the chief's face was convulsively distorted, his face was like golden paper, and he was breathing cold air from his mouth. Bump! The chief was subjected to this strong tremor, and immediately turned into a streamer and flew out. Fly to the boundless sky. I don't know if I can come back. The corner of Qin Luo's mouth twitched, and his figure stood in the center of the altar where the chief stood just now, with the highest position at 5.0. At this moment, the sky was shining with a golden sunset, and Qin Luo's body was carrying the light. The shape falls in the eyes of everyone like a mansion, and those who get close can feel that the scythe of the god of death has been placed on their necks. Pirates of the Blue Sea. Aren't you dead? What's going on here? Gan Fuer's face was still unbelievable. There was a silver helmet on his cold face, but he was still unable to resist the cold invasion from Qin Luo's fear, and he shivered unnaturally when he spoke. An aura of despair enveloped the boundless sky. No matter how big the sky was, it was very likely that Qin Luo would kill him directly after escaping. Call out. Qin Luo, who was fully protected, raised his hands above his head, clenched them into fists, stomped on the ground, and rushed over to kill him. Crescent Moon Sky Chong No Moon. Chapter 322 Wrath of the New God. Crescent Moon Sky Chong No Moon. The body is bowed like a crescent moon, and it launches itself as a crescent moon. With a flash of light, the fist fell directly on the man's chest. Ah! A hissing roar spewed out of his mouth. The tear-like pain directly tore his chest, and the heart had already bloomed, turning into a rotten waste organ. In an instant, the sharp knife-like pain spread from the chest, and the spider web-like emanated. The shadow of death shrouded his whole body with excruciating pain. Want to run? Come back. 20 segments of gravity. Qin Luo saw that this person was about to be blasted away by the fists with full protection of his body, and immediately pulled the person back with gravity. Then, Ganfuer and Pierre were both controlled by the god of fate. He couldn't help himself at all, and was directly pulled back by Qin Luo's gravity. As soon as they touched it, Qin Luo's full-level iron fist flashed with black light, and the man and Pierre fell directly to the ground. Ganfuer and Pierre flipped over, turned some somersaults, and fell on the altar. In just a few 13 seconds, they knocked the altar into a mess, and a fine spider web spread over the large granite. Ganfuer fell to the ground, and a blood sword could not be covered and sprayed directly out of his mouth. You're not dead. Obviously the Blue Sea pirate just now stabbed me to death with a spear. You're dead. Who are you? You're not the Blue Sea pirate just now. Ganfuer's mount Pierre all moved back and slowly back in fear, stepping on a stone under his foot and slamming. Pierre directly softened to the ground. Ganfuer's face was horrified. Qin Luo's eyes, as soon as it condensed, the dark blue pupils reflected the ice blue tip of the knife, flashing a cold killing intent. Open your eyes to see clearly. Am I the original pirate? Qin Luo's voice was extremely flat, as if he was talking about something that had nothing to do with him. Your attack just now was so weak. I'm embarrassed to give it as an adjective, probably only the word weak is worthy of you. Quote. Qin Luo pulled Ganfuer off the mount with both hands. Ganfuer lost all his strength and was lifted up easily by Qin Luo. Tell me, you guys had a great time just now, right? Now, it's my home game. How are you going to die? Qin Luo looked up at the person who was picked up by him, as if he was picking up a pet from the pet market. The rabbit put it into the light and looked at the color of the rabbit. Even through a layer of mask, Gonfeuer can feel the cold light. He said in a panic, Pirates, no, this is just a misunderstanding. Gonfeuer wanted to explain, but Chin Luo hadn't waited for the other party to finish speaking, and the arm that fell on Gonfeuer's throat tightened a bit. Misunderstanding. You told me, you said I wanted to become the king of the 3 realms of sea, land and air, and you said that I was daydreaming, is that what you said? Chin Luo's arm gradually tightened. Gonfeuer fell into the Jedi crisis. I want to explain, but my throat is hoarse and I can't say a word. Sir, I mean I'm daydreaming. How could it be you? You must have heard it wrong. Gonfeuer squeezed these words out of his throat, his face full of horror, in case Chin Luo didn't press it carefully, and it is very likely that I will stop the food directly. It's not that he didn't know Chin Luo's arrogance and domineering. The extreme terrifying power he just showed had already made him terrified. I heard it wrong. How could I hear it wrong? You tell me how I heard it wrong. If you want to apologize, you can keep it for the rest of your life. As the words fell, the strength on Chin Luo's arm gradually increased. Gonfeuer's face was like golden paper. His eyes were black and spit out, and gradually lost their luster, like a salted fish that lost his dreams. In the name of my angel island god, I never said it. Besides, I'm already over 100 years old, and I have half a foot in the coffin. There is no reason not to think about my own back and make such a move. Death. In order to survive, Gonfeuer had to gamble his honor for the rest of his life to dispel Chin Luo's doubts. The second half of your life. Do you want me to help you and step directly into the coffin? Chin Luo grabbed the man's throat and prepared to twist it hard, breaking the man's neck and turning it into a headless corpse. Slow. Whatever you want, I promise you. Gonfeuer hurriedly squeezed these words out of his throat, because he didn't know if he would still be able to live in this world in the next second. His stern face had lost its original luster at this time, and his tall and straight body was in the at this moment. It became incomparably small, and it was like a soldier facing the city and begging for mercy. Chin Luo will say goodbye to this world as long as he exerts a little force. Oh, if you want to say that, then I'll be more respectful than obedient. Chin Luo's original purpose was just to want the other party to surrender to him from the bottom of his heart. Now that the purpose has been achieved, Chin Luo naturally doesn't need to kill people. Come to dye your hands. He loosened his hand and let go of the man. Gonfeuer quickly scrubbed his throat with his hands to assist his breathing, and he took a deep breath of the air. I said just now, I want to be the god of your sky island. Do you have any questions? Chin Luo turned his back to Gonfeuer on the ground. The latter was so frightened that he almost knelt down and begged for mercy. Luo felt a chilling force that made him dare not breathe. I'll give you the seat of God immediately. Gonfeuer said immediately. The kind of coldness he had just walked through the gate of hell was still on his body, and he didn't dare to say a word. From now on, you don't need to step into the Holy Land for half a step. Chin Luo was not astonished, and his voice was flat and unwavering, but the faces of the few people behind him were blank. No. It was 2 people who spoke. Gonfeuer and the mountain ghost. With their eyes closed, they know that if the Holy Land falls from their own hands into the hands of others, their status on Sky Island will be completely lost, and even if they die in the future, they will have no face to face their ancestors at all. Mountain Ghost, Gonfeuer, do you think I'm negotiating terms with you? Chin Luo's mouth curled into a bloodthirsty look. His blue eyes were filled with ice and snow. Even if he had only one eye, he was seen. The mountain ghost's legs immediately became weak. No, the Holy Land is us. The mountain ghost wanted to explain, but before he could say the words in his throat, the whole person involuntarily flew towards Chin Luo, and a cold feeling came from his neck. No sound came out of his throat. Mountain ghost, have you seen your old man's fate? Don't you admit that I am your god? Chin Luo suddenly exerted force with both hands. The latter used his right hand to attack the shell twice, and fell straight down. The other hand was desperately placed on Chin Luo's arm, struggling to release Chin Luo. Arm. Chapter 323 The Men Who Came Out of Impel Down. Master Wizard, we admit that you are a god. I mean, the Holy Land, that's what our ancestors belong to, you can't take it away. The mountain ghost's mouth was full of blood, and he didn't say a word. The spouting from the gap between his teeth, even in the face of the wizard, he still insists on the existence of the Holy Land, that is his holy land, the holy land of his ancestors. I'm not negotiating terms with you. The words fell, Chinluo's strength gradually increased, and the mountain ghost's struggling head gradually lost its strength, and slowly lowered. The heart was as if it couldn't breathe oxygen, and the coldness of death was coming and going. The dots cover the whole body of the mountain ghost. Chinluo's voice was like the morning bell and the twilight drum in the sky, beating in everyone's heart, and the frost-like coldness also filled the surroundings like a sound, and the repressed chill made the people around him stunned. The people around were castrated collectively. You look at me and I look at you. Chinluo is standing in front of them like a god. There is no doubt about Chinluo's strength. No one belongs to him. The opponent, if you want to survive, you must follow Chinluo's will. My patience is limited, why don't you guys kneel down? See your new god. Chinluo roared loudly, earthquake cloud. As Chinluo's voice fell, a huge coercion surged out from Chinluo's body, stepping on the altar step by step. The original altar had already been fragmented. The stone shook directly. Dong dong. The people around can't help but surrender to the pressure radiated by this god, and they call the gods in their mouths. Chinluo's face was calm, his heart was not disturbed, his eyes swept over those kneeling people, just one glance made everyone bow their heads and dare not even look at them. Chinluo stepped down from the altar step by step. Crawling on the ground, listening to the footsteps of the new god, everyone's faces froze, and they were about to ask Chinluo what he wanted to do, but under the pressure of Chinluo, no one made a sound. Chinluo's eyes were firm, and soon a charming figure appeared in his vision. Momoshiki didn't expect Chinluo to come back like this, and his eyes looked silly as Chinluo walked in front of him. Tremble. What are you going to do? Momoshiki wanted to hide his panic, but Chinluo stretched out his hand. The hand was very slender, the exposed ankle was black and white, and the bone shape was very sexy. Chinluo thought to himself that Tsunade was in the limelight at the Dragon Palace banquet, and he never had a chance to make up for Momoshiki, and now he just took this opportunity to make Momoshiki happy. Come on, you are my princess. Chinluo held Momoshiki's hand, soft and boneless, which was extraordinarily comfortable to touch. Chinluo's voice fell, and Momoshiki couldn't help squinting Vivi's eyes. Her mind tightened, and there was chaos inside. She didn't know what kind of expression to make now. She usually pretended to be cool when she was in marine. What should she do now? Woolen cloth. Before Momoshiki could think about it, Chinluo overbearingly pulled him away. He climbed the high platform, and the mountain wind blew through his ears, very warm and sweet. Long live the new god, the princess is 1,000 years old. I don't know who shouted in the crowd, and the others started to follow the trend and shouted frantically. They didn't dare to look up, but they could hear the sound of the cloaks of the 4 generations. They shouted for a long time, but the new god didn't say a word, which made them feel uneasy. Go away. Chinluo lightly opened his thin lips and spat out 2 words that were neither salty nor bland, but they fell in the hearts of the rest of the people as if they were being forgiven. The taut string in their hearts finally loosened. Zhan Weiwei started to retreat, parted ways, went back to their respective homes, and went to their respective mothers. Ha ha. Chinluo was condescending, his appearance was arrogant, his cloak was rattling, and his hands tightly held Momoshiki's enchanting little waist. Momoshiki could feel Chinluo's real comfort and peerless haki, and his heart was already drunk. Then the spirit of looking down on the world fascinated her. Chinluo jumped into the sea of clouds with Momoshiki in his arms, and Laboon below opened his bloody mouth and directly retracted the 2 into his stomach. But Chinluo remembered the big python and jumped out again. The boa constrictor was still hovering around the altar, not daring to move. It also knew in its heart that Chinluo, who was so terrifying, could send himself flying with just a slap. The ashes are gone. Zero ask for flowers zero. Chin Luo didn't realize it at all. He stepped on it, pulled the reins and lifted it up. With the help of gravitational repulsion, the python flew into the air, scaring the latter to scream. Blue Sea. Impel down. Located in the windless belt of the Great Root, the windless belt is the world of the Sea Kings. If there is no entry and exit of Marine's Seastone giant ship, this is basically a dead city. The waters outside Impel Down have been constantly terrifying maelstrom, spinning crazily. There are 3 gates of justice in the world interrelated to form a triangle shape, connecting Impel Down, Marine Headquarters, and Ennie's Lobby respectively. 0. Impel Down is particularly unsettled today. The phone bug in the security booth is ringing non-stop. A man with horns on his head and dressed as a bat vampire nervously grabs the blue phone bug. This phone bug usually doesn't ring, and when it rings, it means the sky is about to fall or the sky is about to fall. He didn't dare to neglect at all. Mosamoxi, the man said impatiently. Director, that wicked pirate on the 6th floor. Wicked pirate. What are you doing to eat? Why can't you watch the Golden Lion who just entered the game? Marine Admiral Sengoku and Marshal Kong have all told me to focus on it. You told me, you just ran away in less than a day. Run away. You all wait for the military law to deal with it. What are you doing? Don't give me a quick search. You all give me a quick search. Papa, the man known as the director pressed the tight button in his hand fiercely, and the whole Impel Down was a complete sensation. You must know that if the Golden Lion really disappears, then it will become the first big pirate to escape from Impel Down. This is a huge impact on Marine's credibility. Marine's honor will be destroyed in the hands of Magellan. I am afraid that even if he takes the blame and resigns, it will be of no use. Waiting for him will only be a military law. Above Impel Down, a man with tumbling hair all over his body and flying in the wind stood in midair, with 2 followers behind him. They didn't need anything and even floated up. Chapter 324 Successive Crises. This person is Golden Lion. Compared with the relaxed and handsome in front of Marineford, his hair is now thicker, fluffy and messy, and the rudder on his back is still dazzling. But the most notable change was that of Golden Lion's lower body, which was dripping with blood. If Roger or Chin Luo were present, they would have been shocked by the ferocity of Golden Lion. Golden Lion cut off his own feet abruptly in order to escape Impel Down. The surrounding wind roared fiercely. Golden Lion raised his mouth and said disdainfully, "Deep sea prison. Impel Down. Marine headquarters. If I want to leave in the future, I will leave." But when he suddenly said this sentence, he remembered a person who also said such arrogant words when he was in Marineford, Marine headquarters. I can come here if I want, and leave if I want to go. Is it necessary for you? Golden Lion. The arrogant tone of Golden Lion just now froze for a moment. The original ease on his face immediately turned into a fierce bloodthirsty. He gritted his teeth, dripped a drop of blood, and roared, "Luyun, I will cut it off myself. I swear by my feet that I won't kill you in this life, and I will be like these short legs." Holy place. Looking at it from a distance, the rows of green trees shrouded the entire island like a greenhouse. Even at an altitude of 10 kilometers, animals and plants can still grow and reproduce. Chin Luo walked up to the holy place, and a burst of fresh and natural air rushed towards his face. The branches in front of him were layer upon layer. The further he went inside, the cold wind was blowing. Chin Luo couldn't help but secretly thought that it was a wise choice not to bring Momoshiki here this time. Walking quickly, according to the original setting, 22 years later, 4 trials have been set up by the 4 priests here, but there are no trials here, and it still maintains the appearance of the Holy Land. Chin Luo came to the center of the Holy Land, and in the distance, he saw a huge vine rising into the sky. Compared with it, the ancient trees in the surrounding sky were just like the difference between giants and dwarves. Chin Luo seriously looked at this huge tree. Bean sprouts. Near the huge bean sprouts, I saw some retro buildings on the ground. These three-dimensional large pillars seem to be pierced from under the clouds. The sight of more than 10 meters falls to the bottom, and then you can enter the going city of Shandola. Suddenly, Chin Luo's thoughts were extremely uneasy. He looked up at the direction of Angel Island where Pagia lived, his eyes tightened, and there was a faintly frightening voice from there. And the sense of crisis is getting stronger and stronger. This time, the sense of crisis is second only to the last time when the Dragon Palace banquet was held, when the Gorosei 5 elders reunited to plot themselves. Isn't there any major change? Chin Luo stepped out, the situation changed, and the green trees on both sides were pushed out to the back. Flying with the help of gravity and repulsion, he soon came outside the Holy Land. Ow! As soon as he walked out of the Holy Land, he saw that Laboon had already stayed here steadily, with his mouth wide open and screaming. Obviously Laboon, as the sea spirit, had already foreseen the unsettled scene here. Chin, what happened? With Momosagi's help, Rouge stepped onto the blue whale's back, and a long dress squeaked in the wind. Ah, what is that? Why is there such a big shadow? Suddenly Momosagi opened her mouth in surprise, and there was a trace of panic in her eyes. She seemed to see something extraordinary. Rouge was let go by Momosagi in a panic. She was standing on the back of the blue whale with a hint of instability, and she almost fell off in fright. Chin Luo's gravitational force acted on Rouge, which stabilized Rouge's body. Rouge's body, which had been almost 6 months, was hidden under her own, without showing any flaws. What a great mother! Chin Luo looked in the direction Momosagi's finger pointed. While still staring, I saw a black shadow in the sky over there. The black shadow was unusually huge, with a horn on the top of the head, and the body was abnormally fat. Big. That should be Emperor Cumulus. Emperor Cumulus is one of the special phenomena of Sky Island. It can refract some people or things under certain circumstances and change into a shape that is dozens of times larger than the original. Quote. Chin Luo glanced at it and guessed that it should be the ghost of D. Cumulus, but there is a creature with horns and a fat body. He remembered that there was absolutely no such thing in the setting of Sky Island before. There are various indications that it seems that a major crisis has occurred in Sky Island. How do you know so much? I adore you. As soon as Momosagi heard that the shadow in the sky was a natural phenomenon, she immediately relaxed her vigilance. It was probably because Chin Luo was by her side that she could be so easily satisfied. Latter heard Momosagi's words of praise, the corners of his mouth were clear, and he felt a burst of relief from the bottom of his heart. But is Sky Island really all right? The expression on Rouge's face became tense, looking at the shadows in the sky, making him feel uneasy. He couldn't help clenching Momosagi's hand. Let's go and see. Chin Luo restrained his thoughts, with a solemn look on his face. Something really happened on Sky Island, and it seemed that he had to rush over. With several people firmly on Laboon's body, Chin Luo greeted Laboon and set off towards Angel Island. Only halfway through, I saw a lot of people jumped out from their riding Waiba. Everyone was scrambling for the first place. Their faces were full of fear. Some people still wore small nei and ran away. Come out, obviously running out in extreme panic. Suddenly, a black shadow in the sky turned from small to large, and smashed towards Chin Luo. Chin Luo's eyes narrowed, and a gravitational force acted directly in front of him, and the speed of the black shadow quickly stopped. And then freezes in midair. I saw that the shadow turned out to be a man, with a black beard on his face and wings on his back. 3.2 His head and feet were upside down and prohibited in midair. His pupils were wide and round, and the pupils were constricted like the tip of a needle. It's small, and it's a very scary thing to see. Paigeia. Momosagi gave him a dignified look. Unbelievable that the person who flew out was actually Paigeia. Judging by how he looked helpless in midair, it should have been thrown out by someone. Chin Luo guided gravity to take Paigeia in. Momosagi quickly stepped up and patted Paigeia's chest so that he would not suffocate. Chin Luo gently spread his repulsion, forming an energy network similar to a bullet net. One by one, The people who were thrown from Angel Island fell onto Chin Luo's network and fell directly, causing them to slide down to the ground in the water, and then wait for the other Waiba to come and rescue them. Chapter 325 Beautiful Girl Transformation. Paigeia, wake up. Momoshiki patted Paigeia's chest with a concerned look on his face. This was the first person they met on the island. God, save the residents of Angel Island. Paigeia's eyes that had lost focus, when he glanced at Chin Luo, his pupils shrank abruptly, revealing a gleaming look, staring at Chin Luo. What happened over there? Momoshiki and Chin Luo looked at each other. The latter Vivi nodded, showing a solemn expression, motioning Momoshiki to continue. It's so big, so many monsters. Weird. Paigeia suffocated and fainted after saying a sentence, which made Momoshiki panic, and hurriedly gave him some first aid. Breathing gradually recovered. You stay here, I'll come when I go. From the unease just now, Chin Luo felt an unprecedented sense of crisis all over his body when he saw the huge Kunpeng-like shadow in the sky. Even if it is really decumulus that has a magnifying effect, but the volume of Kunpeng is enlarged 10 times according to the urine of decumulus, and then the body is reduced by dozens of times correspondingly, so the volume of the body will not be small. Thinking of this, Chin Luo frowned, and his thoughts drifted a little. No matter what the monster in front of him, Chin Luo could easily take care of it, but Sky Island didn't have such a powerful creature. Where did it come from? Chin Luo didn't know why he had the feeling that he saw Hokage at the beginning. Obito summoned the scene of the 9-tailed demon fox abusing Konoha village. There is always a conspiracy behind the attack on this Sky Island. System. Yes, host, what are your orders? Put my Luyun outfit on me. Are you going to transform in midair? Come on, we're running out of time. As soon as Chin Luo finished speaking, there was a loud bang, and his clothes exploded directly. Then, like a beautiful girl transformed, he exploded his original clothes, and then covered the other brand new clothes. The body, the red cloud floats, and the face wears a minimalist Obito mask. I'm going, system, do you want to be so pitiful? Although it's too late, the transformation is only a short second, but that kind of bear exposing the little dick is still very real. At that time, he actually stripped naked in a place surrounded by thousands of people. Chin Luo shook his head and changed his outfit, but still felt that this suit was more suitable for him, coming and going like clouds, calm and comfortable. With a change of body and a flash of figure, Chin Luo has come to the lovely street of Angel Island. Although Chin Luo has made full preparations in his heart, when he sees the mirror image in front of him, his eyes can't help but jump, and his face twitches. The frost on top gradually dropped to freezing point. The sky was obscured by a shadow surrounded by a long cloud, and soon this shadow was cast directly, and then it became a solid, and a huge plant that was large enough to sweep from the street to the end of the street fell from the sky. Chin Luo looked at him intently, his eyes slowly covered with ice. In the field of vision, a vine-like plant that was slightly inferior to the huge bean vines fell to the ground with a clatter. It was covered with things like candied haws, and there were countless tentacles on its body, and the tentacles were still blooming. The people around it ran wildly as if they had encountered a nightmare, shouting hoarsely, but the scythe of fate finally fell on their heads. Ah, what the hell is this guy? Run away. It's so scary. Hide in there. Don't need any jewelry. Are you dying? Go. Help. Puff. That flower, as bright as blood, has a flower the size of a human head, like the mouth of a monster. People who pass by are directly bitten by it, and then the petals grow as fast as they have absorbed nutrients. Wrap people up. Immediately afterwards, the petals lifted the person into the air, wrapped the whole body, and turned into a new candied fruit-like thing hanging on the old tree root in the middle part. Chin Luo's eyes were splitting, and he clenched his teeth tightly. This was the most brutal way of killing he had ever seen. Such a man-eating tree could instantly absorb a man-eating tree as soon as it landed. More than 100 candied haws. And these candied haws are made into their own nutrients, and they are still growing. Too bloody and inhumane. Stop. He exhaled a mouthful of turbid air that was pressing on his chest. Qin Luo's lips showed a bloodthirsty arc. His body was full of blessings. His hands and feet continued to grow larger, and his clothes were specially made by the system to follow the body closely. Expand, and continue to expand. Almost in an instant, I saw several people directly swallowed by the flowers one by one, and then became the nutrients of the candied gourd hanging on the tree. PFF'd. At this moment, a red and white shadow was thrown out. It happened to be a person and a horse-shaped bird. Their bodies were bent into a shrimp shape, and they were impacted on the island cloud, and the island cloud on the ground was directly blasted. Now, under heavy pressure, the sturdy island-like compressed island cloud was directly hit and became a fine cotton-like cloud that sputtered out around. The person who was hit and flew up stood up from the ground. It happened to be the previous god of the sky, Ganfort, and his mount, Pierre. His face was already covered with vines and barbs. It was tattered, and it was obvious that it had been fighting for a long time with the huge vine-eating tree. The dignified expression on his face surpassed any time. The speed of him and Pierre was basically no one could knock them down in midair, but this huge man-eating tree seemed to be their nemesis. His body was directly crushed, and he and Pierre were slapped directly into the cloud. Being photographed into the cloud again, facing such a huge size and power, he felt a burst of deep despair, and he didn't know why he remembered the back of the man who made him suffer the greatest humiliation in his life. Pierre. Ganfort, who was thinking, was awakened by Pierre again, and following Pierre's eyes, he saw that a huge man-eating tree in the shape of a human appeared somewhere. Ah, the world is crazy. Isn't a giant man-eating tree enough? There's even a humanoid monster. Ganfort only felt that the world was about to end as soon as his eyes darkened. These weak and helpless people who have suffered countless casualties are the people he loves. Just now, he was so anxious that he fainted, but now he raised his head again and took a closer look. The so-called human-shaped cannibal tree was more like a giant, but this giant gave people a mysterious feeling. Chapter 326 Tree Trunk Refinement. He was dressed in a black robe, and the red floating clouds on the robe squeaked in the wind. It was like auspicious clouds plucked from the sky and stuck on it, with a mask that couldn't see his face clearly. Suddenly, Ganfort felt a killing intent in the sky. His body shrank involuntarily. That's really killing intent. Even through that mask, one can imagine the anger of this giant at this moment. It's the killing intent from the giant. Who does he want to kill? Ganfort showed a desperate look. Not only the huge man-eating tree, but he was not an opponent at all. Tall giant. Also an angry bloodthirsty monster. Will Angel Island survive today? Suddenly, the human-shaped cannibal tree moved. It made Ganfort's heart tighten suddenly, and his throat seemed to be held by the scythe of the god of death on his neck. However, he was pleasantly surprised to find that Qin Luo's giant-like body rushed up directly, and the angry Qin Luo directly abandoned all other full-level strengths, and directly used the most primitive arm strength to directly grab the roots of the vines as large as the marble pillars in the temple. The flowers on the vines trembled uncomfortably, and desperately devoured Qin Luo's giant body with his own mouth, but to no avail. Qin Luo's blessing was a full-level body, and 357 is not something that can be cleaned up with such petty troubles. Break. Qin Luo just saw that dozens of people were directly bitten by the flower. His face was condensed, and the strength on his arm gathered, and the powerful force was transmitted from the arm. The vines, the flowers have not yet bloomed, have been snapped. Spray. A dark green unknown liquid spewed out from the fracture and splashed around, dyeing the entire white-themed cute street into a dark green, which was disgusting and made people vomit. Ah! The angel running on the ground was sprayed by the dark green unknown liquid, so scared that he hugged his head and ran away, crashing into the nearby wall and fainting. Leave. Qin Luo grabbed the half of the dark green plant with broken wings and threw it on the ground. The expression on his face showed no sign of relaxation. The killing intent increased, and he could almost condense it into a substance to kill people. Those angels who were lucky enough to survive hurriedly walked out of those withered flowers. They had just sorted out the fluids in their bodies. When they opened their eyes and saw the giants and huge plants in front of them, they almost didn't go into shock. How could such an epic monster battle be imagined by their mortals? Their hearts almost went on strike. But the rest of the people and more people have already lost their vitality. Even if they have left the huge piranha flower, their lives have lost their initial brilliance, and turned into a cold corpse, lying on the ground. So brutal. Qin Luo's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Pierre. There was a cry of Pierre from Qin Luo's back. Qin Luo guessed that Ganfuer had regained his strength and flew into the air to help. Who are you? Why do you want to help me with Sky Island? Ganfuer frowned. Although it was not the right time to ask, he still felt the need to clarify one thing. Enemy or friend? Who am I? I don't need you to care. Qin Luo said coldly. The latter was so angry that he almost fell off his mount. The mask also made Ganfuer shudder. What the hell happened here? Qin Luo came over halfway and just tested the ability of these man-eating trees. Ordinary man-eating trees are larger than ordinary man-eating trees and can kill ordinary people. The ability is relatively large, but it is still not enough to match those Marine Admiral. Now Qin Luo still doesn't know the beginning and end of what happened. There is always a sense of crisis approaching Qin Luo, but judging from the battle just now, the crisis is not just this bird thing, it should be someone else. I was patrolling the perimeter, and when I saw the sky was shrouded in shadows, I saw a black shadow falling from the sky, that is, the huge man-eating tree in front of me. I saw this thing wantonly killing my people. Its heart can be punished. Ganfuer's eyes were red, and the more he talked, the more he felt that he was weak, and he was helpless in the face of such brutal murderous aura. Let's work together to eradicate this man-eating tree. Ganfuer was excited and said without considering the difference in strength. Your strength is too weak. Qin Luo's voice was as calm as water. The latter was stunned at first, then suddenly felt a sense of helplessness, but did not feel sorry for himself. Qin Luo seems to be worried that this person is disappointed. Seeing that this person is not bad and loves the people like a child, he feels it is necessary to comfort him. So Qin Luo continued to add, I'll do it alone. What? A strong protest broke out in Ganfuer's heart. What is the origin of this kid? And he is so arrogant. Okay, you are okay, you can carry it. Ganfuer turned into a shadow and fell to the ground, ready to help those people leave. Tang Tang's predecessor, God, was sent by Qin Luo as a human porter. One of the thick roots of the huge man-eating tree was snapped, and it fell back with a scream. It was very humane. Other thick roots surrounded the fracture. The disturbed tree roots danced wildly in the air, and every time it stepped on, it smashed a dwelling. It got angry, those tentacles began to grow wildly, and half of its body was lost. It had to collect more humans to replenish it. It's your own loss. Beasts, still don't give up. There was a trace of disdain at the corner of Qin Luo's mouth, and he was full of anger, and his figure flashed. Dodged and came to the back of the huge man-eating tree, hugged the main root of the man-eating tree, clicked several times, and cut off the long whiskers that were sticking out. Throwing the main tree trunk to the ground, the latter was lifted up like a willow by the opponent and then thrown to the ground. The broad body fell to the ground, and the huge impact force directly knocked the compressed island cloud away, and the cotton-like cloud sputtering out everywhere. The whole body about 20 meters long was directly inserted into the island cloud, only a head was exposed outside. Full repulsion. Qin Luo crushed the opponent in strength, thinking that he wanted to tear the opponent into pieces, and his heart moved at will. A repulsive force acted on the trunk of the man-eating tree, and a white light flashed, and the tentacles of the vines outside the trunk were instantly smashed. Directly vibrating, only one tree trunk is left lying on the ground, and it is not known whether it is dead or alive. Chapter 327 The grass on the grave is as high as your head. Okay, so strong. Ganfuer looked up at the man-eating trees over there that Qin Luo had smashed to the ground with one hand, and felt a twitch for no reason. Waiting to die in the clouds. He now has a clear understanding of the ability of the giant in front of him again, and he will no longer think that the other party's sentence, I will do it by myself, is arrogant. Is it over? The running crowd hadn't recovered from the horror. The sadistic scene of the man-eating tree just now was so frightening that he was caught by the man-eating flower, and his whole body was basically soft. Everyone had a frightened expression on their faces, looking at the giant in front of them. No, Qin-luo looked at the sky with solemn eyes. There was a dark cloud hidden in that part of the sky. There seemed to be a huge monster above the epic level, ready to devour Sky Island and him anytime, anywhere. Under the shadow of death, everyone held their breath, waiting for death to speak. Ha ha, Lu Yun, is it fun? The dark cloud that was originally quiet in the sky suddenly burst into laughter. The smile made the people on Sky Island feel creepy all over. People on Sky Island couldn't help but stick their heads into the clouds like an ostrich, trying to block this magical smile. Who is pretending to be a ghost? Qin-luo asked frivolously. Qin-luo followed the voice and glanced at the sky, only to see that the sky was covered with dense clouds. As the voice fell, the clouds became darker and darker, as if condensed into substance. Hoo-hoo. In just a blink of an eye, the solid cloud layer suddenly revealed the entity of a piece of land. Then, like a trick, the entire cloud was blown away by the wind, revealing an island that was more than half the size of Angel Island. The island was projected on it. Shadows big and small, every shadow as claws and claws. Then, what is that? After the cloud layer came out, the people on Angel Island below were stunned. The joyful mood that had seen Qin-luo's giant defeat the huge man-eating tree immediately seemed to be frozen by ice. Water drenched ahead. The hideous shadow of the tree above was climbing, trying to escape from that island to Angel Island. Just as everyone was stunned, there were several deafening sounds from the small island that suddenly appeared in the sky. In an instant, smoke and clouds in that place were like a dragon, rushing into the sky, and some small things were vaguely seen taking off. Hearing this voice, Ganfer felt a shiver uncontrollably, and Vivi's palms were sweating. After he saw the monster roaring, a shadow of a 100-meter-long body suddenly appeared on the ground, with a big head. Like a cow, he had never seen such a large creature in Sky Island before. The giant snake with a 1-meter-long head had 2 wings on its back, protruded a snake letter, and slid directly from the place. Its head flew down towards Ganfer and others, and it was 2 meters long in the air with the help of its back. The wings maintain a gliding posture. Ah, monster, get out of Angel Island. The person who survived just by chance didn't have time to be sad, grabbed the backpacks in his hands that had not been put down, and continued to run in the opposite direction. Snake. Masked man, the enemy is too strong. Let's temporarily restrain our edge and leave this area. Ganfer's face twitched, his eyes trembled when he looked at these things, and he had already retreated in his heart. Knowing his speed, it is absolutely impossible for those large creatures to catch up with him. The masked man, Qin-luo evoked a smile. Go on your own, I'm not very easy to get along with. If anyone offends me, I will kill them all. Qin-luo remembered the harsh sound like cutting metal from the island in the sky just now. If he guessed correctly, he should be an acquaintance, but what kind of acquaintance can he do such crazy things? It is estimated that there is only one. Since he treated himself so graciously, if Qin-luo didn't return the gift, it would seem impolite. Open your eyes and talk nonsense. Look at the monsters all over the place. These have surpassed what we can do with human power. When we go there, aren't we going to die? Ganfer's face was hot. One is that he is a good person and has saved many refugees from Sky Island, and the other is that he was stimulated by the inexplicable arrogance of this kid. After all, he is also the god of Sky Island. You, a kid, come over and say that you will face Union alone. Now it's even more awesome. You actually said that you want to exterminate this group of monsters. I'm afraid that when you rush over and come back, there are not even bones left. These monsters are so ferocious. Huh. Qin-luo directly ignored Ganfer's unfounded worry, and turned into a white light that rose into the sky. The flying Orochi in front of him happened to be where Qin-luo wanted to borrow. Hey, come back. Young man, don't be impulsive. In the blink of an eye, Ganfer pulled up a black shadow on the computer, His eyes were about to fall, because the head of the man was exactly the same 100-meter-long flying Orochi monster. Isn't it death by rushing up like this? Hey, if you say a few words, you don't need to rush up to die, right? Ganfuer couldn't catch it. Chinluo immediately rushed to the sky. Compared with the behemoth in the sky, Chinluo's figure was like as small as a green bean. Ganfuer was also about to rush up to stop the man, but in a blink of an eye, he saw that he was also about to escape to safety with 2 Angel Island residents, so he could only lower his head and sigh, and then pulled the 2 of them to sit down. 280 Ampere is gone. Boy, I hope you come back safely. Ganfuer said silently in his heart. At this moment, Ganfort sat on Pierre and turned around to take a last look when he discovered an extremely strange scene, which made his eyes almost fall, and trembled in his mouth and murmured, "Is this man? Do you really want to fight a group of monsters alone?" When Ganfort turned around, the young man he saw was flying towards the giant monster, but the young man turned around deftly in midair, and stood on the top of the giant snake monster's head, kicking his feet. Stepped on the monster snake and went directly to the small island full of countless hideous monsters. Luyun, since you hit the muzzle on your own, I've saved a lot of effort. I won't let you go this time. Chinluo had just reached the edge of the island when he heard the small island vicious curses came from above. The man looked like he hated Chinluo deeply, otherwise he would not have dealt with Chinluo so deliberately, and even found Sky Island from Blue Sea. I admire you very much, you are very courageous. Chinluo's cheeks contained thin ice, and a cluster of cold words spit out from Chinluo's mouth like frost flowers. People who dared to talk to me like this before, the grass on the grave, I'm afraid they're as tall as your head. Chapter 328 Sunflower Lion. Lovely Street is no longer what it used to be, with broken walls and crooked houses crushing some residents of Angel Island who had no time to escape. Their hands and feet could no longer move. When the giant monster landed, they could only use mouth to shout. However, their relatives turned around and left, leaving them in place. No one paid attention to their throats, and the giant man-eating tree devoured them in one bite. Chinluo's voice spit out, but his chest was blocked, like a fire in a crock pot, and he couldn't let it out. The countless candied haws hanging from the giant man-eating tree just flashed in my mind. Those extremely cruel images, every time it was as uncomfortable as a blunt knife gouging through my heart. The man in front of him was extremely cruel and killed innocent people indiscriminately. It was enough to die 100 times to justify the crimes he had committed. Jia, Luyun, I knew you would be so stupid, lost your senses for those so-called lowly pariahs, and soared into the sky. Rush in front of me and die. You must have been surrounded by my army of IQ creatures. Up! A gloomy voice came from above the heads of the group of monsters in front. The tone was full of bitter anger, and the voice was as sharp and unpleasant as cutting metal. The group of monsters landed one after another. Some were giant flying snakes, some were 3-headed vicious dogs, some were giant man-eating trees, and giant man-eating flowers. Ho-a-ho! Chinluo just fell to the ground. The monster's voice roared like Hong Zong's mad bombardment in his ears, and the large animals around him surrounded them. A sunflower lion with an extremely ugly face. There was a sense of coercion full of coolness from him, which directly threatened Chinluo, and the breath on his body stood up to prevent those monsters from suddenly erupting. On the right shoulder of the sunflower lion, stood a man with long fluffy hair. Gold was his natural color. That man was the golden lion with anger and pride in his eyes. He was angry that Chinluo actually handed him over to Marine's group of weak chickens last time, and locked him in impel down, which completely humiliated him. He believed in the world of the strong, and it was only natural for the strong to bully the weak. Even if he shoots and kills the pirates around him, it is nothing but a brutal game. But one day the weak caught the person closest to One Piece, King of Pirates Roger in his great era, and brought him with him. By the time he got to Seastone, he was out of anger. The proud is that no one thought that he could escape so quickly from the impel down, where no one could escape. Chinluo in front of him was only surprised, dazed, fearful, desperate, and lore. I just realized you're hopelessly stupid. When the latter heard this, he laughed in anger. The exposed eye was already covered with frost. Although he wore a mask on his face, Golden Lion could still feel the anger on Chin Luo's face. Golden Lion in front of him had lost both legs, and the legs could no longer be called legs. The original positions of those legs had been tied with two sharp swords. You go. Golden Lion disliked Chin Luo's faint smile the most. To make you proud, I will let all IQ creatures kill you without a trace. These ferocious creatures are all the proud work of Golden Lion. He accidentally discovered that these animals with IQ enhancement on a floating island are unusually brutal and cruel, and the idea of a strong world suddenly emerged in his heart. If these brutal creatures are domesticated, there will be countless fierce and invincible crew members, so that even if he encounters Roger, or even the legendary Scarlet Earl, he will not be afraid at all. So the ambitious Golden Lion used his ability to float this floating island into the air and completely became his own thing. After escaping for 4 or 5 days, he continued to study these creatures here. Golden Lion recalled the Qin dynasty. Luo tossed him to Marine's group of weak chickens. The more he thought about it, the more angry he became. He even took the floating island directly to Sky Island to find Qin Luo. Shout! As soon as the Golden Lion finished speaking, a long roar erupted from the mouth of the Sunflower Lion with hard hair standing upright under the Golden Lion. The Sunflower Lion showed a hideous face and walked slowly from there. His sharp claws stepped on the branches on the ground, making a creaking sound, and along with the residual wind, a surging gloom sprayed out from him. I saw that this Sunflower Lion had 3 golden front teeth on its face. The teeth in its mouth glowed with cold light, and its stature was huge. Compared with the giant man-eating tree just now, it was a little bigger. Qin Luo felt an inexplicable pressure. Golden Lion, you are worse than a beast. In the setting of the original book, these enhanced creatures should not be as powerful as the Golden Lion, but at this moment, the coercion erupted by this hideous Sunflower Lion far exceeds the threat of the Golden Lion. Even the Golden Lion would not give Qin Luo a rare feeling. In the eyes of the latter, a mere Sunflower Lion had some unusual coercion and a faint smell of danger. It just felt dangerous, and there was always a touch of contempt on the corner of his mouth. Roar! The ferocious-faced Sunflower Lion let out a long roar, and the 3 golden teeth at the corners of its mouth spread out a large piece of disgusting harassment. It will sag a lot. I'll take you as a Golden Lion to practice my hands. There was a contemptuous smile on Qin Luo's mouth. Although he was threatening, he didn't have any fear. He had already protected his entire body to the extreme. The Sunflower Lion in front of him would definitely not be his opponent. Bite him to death for me. Golden Lion roared angrily. He was once again provoked by Qin Luo. This stinky boy was dying, and he was still here to use his words. In just a moment, the Sunflower Lion suddenly attacked Qin Luo's head. A pair of black and shiny claws glowed coldly in the dark cloudy sky. Qin Luo's Vivi tilted his head and easily escaped. The former fluttered in the air, grabbed the giant tree behind him, and instantly tore the giant tree into pieces. Good job, big man. Qin Luo's smile grew even thicker. He dodged behind the huge Sunflower Lion and kicked the Sunflower Lion's ass. He didn't expect the lion to be far bigger than the Sunflower Lion. Qin Luo was much stronger in his imagination. In the blink of an eye, the Sunflower Lion, as if it had a heart, flashed in an instant, dodging Qin Luo's attack, and came to Qin Luo's back. With a hot breath, it turned out that the Sunflower Lion flashed behind Qin Luo. Chapter 329 Are you afraid of me? The eyes are full. The pupil of Qin Luo's exposed eye shrank instantly, and then fell apart, becoming 1 hook, 2 hooks, and 3 hooks. Ouch! Although the Sunflower Lion didn't know what Qin Luo said was the braised lion's head, the moment it saw Qin Luo's eyes, it couldn't help shivering. It was a crisis of the strong against the weak. The sharp claws that it was about to throw out were stiff in midair, and a cold wind passed through its heart for no reason. As if it knew that the next second was its dead silence. Qin Luo suddenly opened his eyes. Of course, he knew how terrifying these pair of riding wheel eyes were. He had to know that Obito had easily used the writing wheel to control the heaven-defying beasts like Jue. This writing wheel for giant beasts, the eyes are the nemesis and the natural enemy. Writing round eyes. Amaterasu. The sunflower lion wanted to hide, but under the coercion of those eyes, it didn't even struggle to escape. The terrifying face was stained with black flames, burning those golden hairs that were standing upright. The black flame is still spreading, just like a braised lion's head. Fight me. Have you ever considered your status as a beast? Chinluo is very satisfied with the effect of Amaterasu. No, it is precisely the threatening effect of Sharingan on these giant creatures, the energy that directly makes these giants roar. It made him feel more proud. He quickly thought of a way to deal with the IQ creatures like Golden Lion. Glancing at the braised lion's head, Chinluo raised his head to look at Golden Lion with a smile on his lips. His eyes were gradually covered with a layer of ice. It was this person who made the residents of Angel Island who used to live and work in peace and contentment ruin their homes, and their wives for the sake of his own selfish interests. He even killed people to take the right to live for others. This is what Chinluo can't bear the most. Golden Lion was glanced at by the latter, and his bones were uncomfortable. After feeling the strong aura from Chinluo's body, his whole body began to tremble. Luyun, you threw me to that group of weak chickens. I'm here to avenge this arrow today. The giant beast you just killed was just one of several hundred of these giant beasts. You are already struggling so hard. I just let them swarm and you'll be a shard in their mouth. Golden Lion roared angrily, wanting to shake the chill out of his body. He comforted himself, and the angry roar caused the stupid giant creatures around him to roar directly. In my mind, I couldn't help but recall the first time I met Chinluo, and I felt soft. When the other party was in Marineford, he ruthlessly left himself outside to be shot at, and he went to steal the marine treasury. Throw him to those weak chickens again. Tolerable or unbearable? Oh, do I look so weak? Chinluo heard the words, temporarily suppressed the anger in his heart, and said in a cold tone, the cold air could not be suppressed from his cheeks, and it showed. Chinluo's mind was very simple. He didn't do anything, he just wanted to see how arrogant the Golden Lion in front of him would be, and what kind of nonsense he could make. You Luyun are an egg. Today I will put my words here. If I don't kill you today, I will never appear in the sea. Seeing Chinluo's light-hearted appearance, he had already seen the teasing sarcasm from the other side, and his expression changed, and he immediately became furious. Golden Lion swore to God with his beard and staring eyes, which made Chinluo laugh for a while. His tone was full of teasing and contempt. You say what you want to do to me, what to do, but your body is very honest. Didn't you just say that I'm weak? Are you going to throw me among all the beasts and be torn to shreds by monsters? Chinluo walked calmly behind the Golden Lion, revealing a sympathy for me. Smile. Golden Lion's body was shocked, Chinluo's red robe was flying, and the black clouds were rolling. Now he is standing directly behind him. The thunder in the dark clouds in the sky is shining brightly. Even more unable to hide the ridicule in his heart. Golden Lion, let me tell you, you want those giant beasts to bite me to death and smash me to pieces, Chinluo said in one breath. The latter only felt that his whole body could not stop shaking, that a murderous intent spread from his back like frost, but Chinluo didn't hear it, and continued, I'm right here, if I don't run, you ask them to bite me and see if they dare. As soon as the words fell, the coercion of the whole body was released, and the arrogant Feishui was like June when he met a beggar in a single shirt, and directly rapped the opponent without any obstruction, making the opponent's body tremble uncontrollably. What? Are you still scared? If you don't ask them to kill me, I will kill you. You just destroyed an angel island, leaving so many people homeless and separated. Even if you kill 100 people times, shredded 1,000 times, you are not enough to make up for it. Quote. Chinluo's killing intent rolled, and the latter's eyes trembled when he heard the words. Even through a mask, he could feel the frost-like chill on Chinluo's face. Golden Lion had been soft before, but now facing Chinluo, it was exactly the same, only endless panic remained. Chapter 330. I've seen this kind of thing a lot. In the battle at Marineford, the Golden Lion did everything possible, but it only hurt Chin Luo's fur. The memory of that time flashed through his mind like a mirror. The ruthlessness he just shouted was just based on the IQ creatures he just subdued. If he really wanted to confront Chin Luo, face to face, he could definitely be killed by Chin Luo 100 times and torn apart 1,000 times. He escaped from impel down gradually subsided. Compared with those, what really matters is his own life. Chin Luo glanced at Golden Lion, and knew the other party's whole thoughts. He guessed that the other party thought that the giant creatures on his floating island could shred him into pieces, but he didn't expect Chin Luo to approach him easily now. He had to be a coward. Weak, too weak, Chin Luo said. Luyun, don't think wrong, I was just thinking about how to cut you into pieces. What do you really think you are? If you are caught by my giant beast, you can't be scared. Golden Lion Shiki pretended to be disapproving and said, but his body honestly took a few steps back and kept a safe distance from Chin Luo. I said none of this. You are not afraid. Are you weak or not? You have already made up your mind, and you know it better than anyone else. The cold words came out of Chin Luo's mouth, as cold as ever. My giant beast army will be afraid of you. Didn't you see that a man-eating tree directly put half of Angel Island in crisis? After Golden Lion kept a safe distance, the psychological safety factor continued to rise. He knew in his heart that as long as he didn't follow Chin Luo fought head-to-head and let those giant beasts charge into battle. With the help of the giant beast's power, Chin Luo's corpse could definitely be smashed into tens of thousands of pieces. The latter was a person after all. Oh, that's fine, I'll just stand here. If you have the ability, ask them to bite me and see what they can do with me. Words came out, haki was dripping, and the Golden Lion on the opposite side was shocked for a while. Chin Luo's provocation really hit his face. Golden Lion is thief but not thief. The hand that was locked in impel down was furious, and now he is thinking about it. If you hadn't teamed up with Marine to oppose our captain last time, our captain wouldn't have been framed into impel down by your intrigues and tricks. You Luyun are nothing but a bully. I Indigo the first to refuse. At that time, a man walked out from behind a group of IQ animals, and laughed in his mouth, as if he was very dissatisfied with Chin Luo's tone. He was wearing a white cape and a scarf with a blue background with polka dots. His face was pale and bloodless, his hair was tied up at the back, and the sides were blown open, like a bow tie on the back of his head. The man who claimed to be Indigo had a gloomy face, holding the long needle in his hand, and holding a medicine box at his waist. He looked like a ship doctor. At this time, he was a conspirator. They all revealed their disdain and contempt for Chin Luo. Chin Luo was quite surprised. He didn't expect to see Golden Lion and other crew members for a few days. Didn't he die last time? Old man, do you know who you are talking to? Chin Luo snorted. The disdain on Indigo's face was vividly expressed. I'm dealing with a clown who thinks he has defeated my captain alone, but actually uses intrigue to calculate my captain's self-proclaimed cloud god, but is actually a despicable villain. Speak. Words fell. He laughed wildly again. Gregler. Tell you not to be afraid. After the captain escaped, he found me. We have been studying these IQ creatures together for 4 or 5 days. As long as I put these IQs into the bodies of these violent creatures, all the beasts on the scene will go crazy. You torn to shreds. Indigo is a learned doctor. He now knows that Chin Luo must be afraid of these IQ creatures in his hands, otherwise he will not hesitate to do it. He followed the Captain Golden Lion to discover the IQ creatures on the floating island. He saw that 1 or 2 huge creatures could shred a marine warship into pieces, and he also saw that one of the plants directly destroyed a small island. IQ creature he has developed. Forgot to mention, I'm afraid you still can't understand the concept of IQ. The so-called IQ is equivalent to the hormone of the human body. The human body produces exciting hormones, and people will become excited. These IQs are also cruel to living things. Hormones, as long as you inject brutal hormones, these creatures will explode and tear you apart completely. This is an uncontrollable process. When that time comes, if I kneel down and beg for mercy, I'm afraid it's too late. Quote. Indigo explained the function of the long needle in his hand very professionally, revealing his confidence in the things he had developed, as well as his deep ridicule towards Chin Luo. Okay, you're just a Frankenstein. I've seen a lot of the kind of things you're talking about. The other party's introduction was superfluous to Chin Luo. In the original setting, Chin Luo had already read a few times. It's been 100 times, it's not just some mutant creatures, they found it, and the golden lion turned him into his own floating island. They also hid for more than 20 years and studied it before they found the state of being able to retract and release freely. I'm afraid I just know a little bit of fur. What? You've seen it? Gregular, little frog, don't blow your belly. Indigo was completely amused by Chin Luo. This was the first time he discovered a scientific achievement that was not announced to the world. Now there is a fool who has told him that he has seen it. You say this is ridiculous. 0. Why don't I tell you the ingredients of these IQs? Chin Luo showed an expression of, it's just like that, and the disdain in his mouth became more intense, which made Indigo's face and neck stunned, and his face flushed. Say it. If you can say something ugly, all. Indigo couldn't think of any good ideas. After thinking for a long time, he could only copy Golden Lion's confrontation. Swear, I'll never be at sea. IQ is extracted from plants, and it contains. All kinds of rare beasts can be eaten. Train these rare beasts. If it can be tested on humans, it is very possible to obtain the same ability as a devil fruit, and there is no sequelae of becoming a landlubber. The experiment might as well find more pirates. Chin Luo eloquently explained the ins and outs of IQ, what ingredients, what clinical effects, and what direction of development in his hundreds of words. Indigo really didn't expect that the other party had such a smooth thinking. The more the other party said, the palms of his hands were sweating, his face was red, and then he listened more and more seriously. When it comes to the key point, if it is not rational now, he also wanted to take notes. Chapter 331 Make You a Bald Lion. Other party, SIQ insights are more clearly understood than those he has been in contact with for only 4 days, which arouses his eagerness to learn. Feeling of itchiness that cannot be scratched. Captain, this man has really seen this kind of IQ creature. If we take him as a partner, I promise that within a year, we will be able to lead the IQ Corps back to Marineford. Indigo jumped up excitedly. He had a bold idea in his heart, so much that he forgot that Chin Luo was now the mortal enemy of Captain Golden Lion, and he was pulling Golden Lion's arm and kept talking about Chin Luo's benefits. Golden Lion is also a very good-faced person. He was slapped by Indigo like this. With a slap, he slapped the Indigo away, spinning around dozens of times like a ball. Indigo only felt a burning sensation on his face, and the whole person was dizzy. Bastard! Golden Lion was so angry that he slapped him. According to his previous personality, he guaranteed that a slap would kill this person, but now is the time to hire someone, so he bypassed the opponent. Chin Luo was startled. He secretly said, I'll go. It turns out that this person's IQ biological research knowledge and direction were taught to each other by Chin Luo himself, and then after 20 years, the pair will directly kill the Straw Hat Luffy. The hometown of East Blue, thus sweeping a full-scale war, the world of the strong. Chin Luo was ashamed for a while, and his feelings buried another hole in the straw hat. Captain, this crew member is 100 times stronger than the woman we forced to join before. She is not just someone who can read the text of history, saying that the weapons of the world were hidden in the text of history 800 years ago, but that it is also an ethereal thing. Instead of pursuing those ethereal world weapons, let's cultivate a world weapon, the IQ core. This person in front of me is very unusual, if you become our partner. Indigo seemed to be stubborn as if he had discovered true knowledge. He wanted to recruit Chin Luo as a crew member, and the excitement completely made Indigo lose his mind. Finish speaking. Golden Lion absorbed Indigo's medicine box and held it in his hand. Lion mighty roll. As if the golden lion didn't see the other parties begging for mercy, he waved his big hand. A gust of wind rose, the ground shook wildly, trembled, and then lifted his hands, and the ground instantly enveloped Indigo, whose face was ashes. This guy has no cover. He has exposed everything about him, and let others know his secrets. The woman mentioned by the other party just now is his biggest secret weapon, and only through that woman can he realize his ambitions. At that time, not only this Luyun surrendered to his feet, but I was afraid that the world government would come to kneel and beg for mercy. You said that you flying sky pirates, you can't win in fights, and doing scientific research is garbage. Forget kidnapping, you still kidnap women. Besides, you form a team to come out to kill monsters, and you end up fighting infighting. Saying it out, you don't feel ashamed. Looking at the infighting between the two, I think that Golden Lion's life was really unfortunate. He was defeated in the Battle of Atwal, and all the members fell into the sea. Even he himself was stabbed into the spine by the rudder and became a disabled person. He defeated Qin Luo in the marine headquarters alone, went in impel down, and chopped off his legs before coming out. But poor people must have something to hate. Shiki is cruel, kills like numb, and doesn't care about the lives and safety of the rest of the people, and the separation of his wife and children. These unbearable deeds really made Qin Luo kill. HMPH, Lu Yun, when you toasted and didn't eat the penalty drink, I originally planned to leave you a whole corpse, but now, I'm going to change my mind. Hearing Qin Luo's words, Golden Lion's face sank, and he shook the medicine box in his hand, and his face showed a moment of madness like a storm and said, "Have you seen the medicine box in my hand? I have developed it here. The 108 IQ hormones that came out, as long as I inject this IQ hormone into the bodies of these rare beasts, I can guarantee that they will go wild in a few breaths, and everyone will chase after you and bite. I can be the strongest man in the world. Take my strong world, destroy Marineford, destroy the Holy Land, colonize the island with Fishman Island as the ground, impose heavy taxes on those evil merchants, form an imperial army, complete the army combat readiness update. Go to sea again, then kill that red man, IQ is in hand, I have the world." Golden Lion roared in the sky, thinking of his own tyranny and tyranny in his mind. He was blinded by the desire for profit, and he soon forgot Qin Luo's cold-killing intent towards him just now. It has quietly condensed into an icy lore-killing intent. Wang Tu's hegemony. Do other people deserve to be killed by you? To be the funeral object of your Wang Tubei? Once it will be done, the bones will die. What is the use of such a person, to invade the Earth's resources? Treats human life like a mustard, and does not treat people as human beings at all, and such a person is not worthy of the qualifications that a person should have. After listening to this, Qin Luo couldn't help laughing sarcastically. "Oh, you did it. I'm just standing here, it's up to you if you dare to touch a hair of me. Move a single hair of me, and I will pull out the hairs from your whole body one by one, and make you a bald lion." The icy killing intent penetrated through the mask, causing the listener to shudder. As he approached, he couldn't help but take a few steps back. He just wanted to see if this golden lion was a coward today. If it's a coward, he won't mind killing Jishin with one sword later. "Shuzi, you are so arrogant, wash your neck and let Lousy kill you." A loud shout came out of Golden Lion's mouth, and he flew up suddenly, took out several pinholes in the medicine box, and shot out a few times, landing on the ground. On the body of a rare beast, the latter trembled all over, the muscles on his arms, chest, and thighs began to swell up, his body began to swell a little, and the ground under his feet slowly sank a little. Among the rare beasts, some have fat heads and big ears, some are snake-shaped with long wings, or have a dragon's mouth and a horse's body, and there are also strong Vajra apes, irritable man-eating trees, and so on. He has activated 36 giant treasures. Each of the beasts has the shape of a chopper transformed into a raging deer. Every giant beast has the terrifying power to destroy a city, which shows how troublesome these 36 giant beasts are. Thump. As soon as I stepped out, the ground immediately sank, the grass roots were firmly embedded in the soil, and the footprints fell into the ground to a depth of 10 or 20 inches, and then the other 35 giant creatures completed their violent transformation. The muscles are already swollen, and their bodies have more than doubled in size. Phew, sis. Chapter 332 Make Me Want to Run. Following the leading dragon-mouthed horse-body rare beast roaring to the sky, the other 35 giant rare beasts scrambled to roar to the sky. As if showing off their might, the 36 giant rare beasts roared to the sky, ear-shattering, row upon row. A circle formation was arranged on the ground, and Chin Luo was surrounded by it. Oh, seeing the 36 majestic rare animals that he activated, Yan ran directly surrounded Chin Luo like an army of rare beasts. This time, only he knew how much blood he had invested. They worked hard all night for 4 days and nights before they completed the collection of 108 IQ hormones. Each of these rare beasts can be compared to the combat power of a vice admiral or above. 3 rare beasts are basically equivalent to the combat power of 1 admiral. 36 rare beasts, that is, 12 admiral. The resources of many precious beasts are really wasted. Bah, this kid is cheap. The dragon's mouth and the horse-bodied precious beast let out a long roar. The dragon's mouth completed the O shape, and a mouthful of saliva flowed out. The sharp claws lay on the ground, and one claw grabbed a piece of land. It looked like a foodie Model 17. However, Chin Luo was taken aback in the next second. Roar fire. Saliva and spewed out a powerful flame like a fire-breathing dragon flame car. As soon as the high temperature appeared, it made the skin dry and cracked. Plant moisture. This flame is not weak. Chin Luo thought he was a reckless man like the sunflower lion, but he didn't expect that this rare beast had the ability to attack people with fire elements. Chin Luo was very knowledgeable and felt a while. He was sluggish, and the flames of the heat waves swept over, and the black robe wrapped around Chin Luo burned up. The sweat on the latter's face was dried up as soon as he came out, so he could only bow his head and say, "The repulsion force is 10 meters full." Chin Luo, who was protected by the full level of repulsion, was bathed in the flames, and the heat wave was overwhelming. Although the full level of repulsion could block the tangible things, the heat was invisible and intangible, and it still caused Chin Luo to sweat. "I didn't provoke you." These flames did make Chin Luo frown, but it was only a frown. Chin Luo's mouth hung a playful arc. With full repulsion and full body blessing, Chin Luo was really not afraid who passed. Just for a moment, I felt a chill on my shoulders, and my spine shivered for no reason. Chin Luo said 3 words, "So treacherous." Between the lightning and flint, a fangs radiated a blue light in the dark cloudy sky. At first glance, it was poisonous. Chin Luo tilted his head to avoid the sneak attack of the flying python. The former bit the opposite side. On the body of the rare beast with the dragon's mouth and the horse's body, chirp, the body of the dragon-mouthed and horse-body rare beast twitched, and it collapsed to the ground. "I really can't underestimate you." Chin Luo's smile became even stronger. His figure flashed behind the flying python, and the punch was flat-chested. Kill. It was just unexpected that the giant flying python with wings on its back was a bit stronger than he knew. In a few breaths, the flying boa constrictor leapt into the sky and only dashed into the sky. Chin Luo knew that this treacherous monster would swoosh down from the top of his head and swoop down to kill him. The spine was icy for a while, and it turned out to be the flying boa constrictor attacking again. The flying boa constrictor flapped its wings frantically, and the surrounding leaves fell to the ground, falling all around, and revolving wildly around the strong storm. Chin Luo stepped back and avoided the blow. The giant boa constrictor gnawed its teeth on the boulder behind it, and the dark green liquid serpentinely covered the stones. In almost a breath, the solid stone was melted into lava. Landform. Chin Luo secretly said that it was dangerous, but before he could breathe out a sigh of relief, a lump of saliva fell from the top of his head, and his heart suddenly tightened, only to see a fleshy palm rolling down on the top of his head, slapped Chin Luo with a slap, and the latter retreated. After a few steps, the flames spewed out again. Bump. Dolly King slapped the lava stone with a slap, and the platypus behind him spit fire and burned the ground to form a huge pit. Chin Luo had to jump into the air, and the giant python flew up into the sky under his feet, and a sharp fang was about to hit the ground. Qin Luo's ankle. Struggling forward, strong repulsion added to his body, Qin Luo did not charge upwards, but swooped down, rushing towards the flying python. The killing intent revealed by the former caused the wings of the giant beast to flap uncoordinated. The aerodynamic force fails, and it struggles to fall to the ground like an angel with broken wings. Provoked me and wanted to run. With his body full of protection, Qin Luo dropped his hammerhead and slammed it down according to the frantic punch of the folded wing python. The latter couldn't even roar, and his body twitched. The icy cold-blooded animal skin rubbed the ground, uprooted the grass on the ground, revealing 5 inches of loess, and scattered sand splashed out. Concave. The flying giant python, which was 7 inches away, was hit by Qin Luo and fell to the ground and sunk into the soil. The silty soil directly buried the python-like body. Qin Luo raised his head, showing a charming smile, and defiantly looked at Golden Lion himself, who was hanging high in the air. The latter was stared at by Qin Luo's explicit eyes, and his body couldn't help but froze. If he guessed right, Qin Luo wanted to tell 777 himself that the end of this stinky snake would be his Golden Lion's end. It's really chilling. Insanity. As he spoke, the dark clouds in the sky became thicker. Bastard. You actually, unexpectedly, other giant beasts will join me. Even if you can't kill you, you will be exhausted to death. Golden Lion raised his hands high, shook his shoulders, and pushed back and forth, accompanied by a dance with a rhythm, his eyes wrapped with a hockey who killed Qin Luo. He looked at Qin Luo for a moment. Are you a 3-year-old? You dance. You think you can kill me with just one dance? It's ridiculous, stupid. Golden Lion was glared back by the other party without flinching, and he just muttered in his heart, you wait for me. In the next second, something happened that Qin Luo had to pay attention to. The Golden Lion shook his shoulders and danced abruptly. Those rare beasts, as if they had received an order to attack at the same time, let out a long roar and put their sharp claws in front of them. Every claws that fell would always shovel up a piece of loess, and they approached slowly step by step. Surrounding Qin Luo, the latter was laughing contemptuously, as if these 36 precious beasts, in his eyes, were like 36 wax statues that were useless and would kill with one blow. Chapter 333 Those Who Hide Are Cowards. Golden Lion was furious, and when he saw Qin Luo's appearance, he couldn't help but be rude. The one who hides is the coward. Kill him. With a ferocious look on his face, the voice fell, and the surrounding land shook. Only 35 giant beasts were left in a violent rage. They raised their sharp claws and lay on the ground. Every step forward, they landed on the ground. It became a deep hole. Ho-a-ho. Giant dinosaurs, giant piranhas, giant King Kong bears, giant dragon-mouthed horse-body beasts, and giant rare beasts strode around Qin Luo, as if they had formed a cage. Luyun, you said that you can't move. Golden Lion was sinister Isho, using words to run against Qin Luo again. Even Ganfuer, who was watching from the side, felt that Golden Lion was too despicable. The giant dinosaur was the first to attack. The sharp giant claws were raised to the sky and fell with a clatter. The powerful impact fell and set off a large piece of soil and smoke. Afterwards, more than 30 giant plant monsters, such as the giant piranha, the giant King Kong bear, the giant dragon-mouthed horse-body beast, and so on, directly used the sharpest parts of their bodies to carry out the strongest attack on the tiny human in front of them. Attack. 20 sections of repulsion. In the dust, Qin Luo smiled contemptuously. I don't move, and if I don't move, I won't move. Unlike some people, who originally planned to give me some color to see, but it turned out to be the color of the sky. A leisurely voice came from the middle. Qin Luo didn't use all the full-level repulsion force to directly fly the opponent, but wanted to test the capabilities of these so-called giant plant monsters, so that all these monsters would be exhausted, and then Qin Luo would use thunder methods. Subdue these behemoths directly. Dong dong. The giant beasts raised their claws above their heads again, and their eyes became more and more horrified. What made this human being in front of them? The slightly obese giant piranha, whose teeth collapsed when he bit down, and the King Kong bear, who punched it. His fist seemed to be stuck. The giant dinosaur was panting and cutting corners for a while. To attack Qin Luo. If these giant beasts could speak, the first sentence they uttered would be, "Damn it. Did you not eat? Give Lao Su a little more power. Otherwise, I will inject you with more hormones and make you plants go wild." Golden Lion, the man who wanted to kill Qin Luo completely, did not underestimate Qin at all. Lo. But because of. How could this kid have improved a lot compared to the last time we met? Is this kid a cultivation genius? In less than 10 days, the ability of the whole person can be automatically upgraded. Seeing the smoke like a dragon, the thick smoke can also see the golden protective cover supported by Qin Luo, and there is absolutely no possibility of shattering on the surface. Ah! King Kong Bear jumped on the branch, flew down from the sky, and came to press the top of Mount Tai, ready to use this move to strengthen his attack power and then crush Qin Luo into pieces. He showed a humane smile, and he was happy. Humiliate Qin Luo. Suddenly King Kong Bear's eyes narrowed. The latter didn't seem to react at all to the big lump of wood that jumped down from the sky. At this moment, he didn't know what the man was looking up at. His eyes happened to meet King Kong Xiang's gaze, and Qin Luo showed a touch of it. The weird smile made the King Kong Bear beast feel Qin Luo's domineering cruelty. Dong dong. The giant bear fell directly and smashed on it. The huge gravity combined with the acceleration, and the thick skin was crushed on the protective cover. The protective cover suddenly dented the next top, and the smoke and dust flying around on the ground were blown away. The giant bear was shocked, and immediately turned into a high-pressure airflow, which acted on the surrounding dust. The smoke and dust oscillated directly around the protective cover, like a mushroom cloud of hydrogen bombs falling from the sky, landing on the ground, and the ball-shaped smoke dispersed. This time, King Kong Bear's Taishan pressure was too vigorous, so that the rest of the giant beasts did not dare to attack, and they avoided it from a distance. Now they are all focused on the protective cover shrouded in smoke in front of them. Giant beast. At this time, everyone surrounded by more than 30 giant beasts was stunned and looked at this strange picture. It was so quiet that others thought it would be the tranquility before the storm. Lu Yun is dead. Even so, I personally experienced the bombardment force of the King Kong Bear, like a big bomb, and directly crushed the protective cover that Qin Luo said was like King Kong's indestructible, splashing a cloud of smoke. But the initiator, Golden Lion, still stared at the mirror image in stunned eyes. Wow, Captain. This is all your credit. Lu Yun, the man known as 2.5 billion Baileys, was subdued by our wise captain. We are going to drink and banquet for 3 days and 3 nights. Think about 25 Eberly. Even if we drink and banquet every day, we will have enough to eat for decades. The Dr. Indigo, who was flying in the sky, roared at his captain. IQ planned that they had researched so many geniuses. They joined the battle for the first time and killed the 2.5 billion pirates directly. This group of IQ creatures is very strong, and over time, the number is large enough to ensure that at the same time the world will not be a problem. Thinking of this, Golden Lion wanted to laugh wildly. Captain, let's bring Seastone to this man, and then take it to the Marine headquarters to ask for credits. Then let the Marine headquarters recognize your status as One Piece, King of Pirates in the world, and then get the government-approved plunder license, and we can grow bigger. Get stronger. At this time, another Teodi who escaped with Golden Lion said, Teodi also had to learn this kind of flattery. It's best, hang Lu Yun people on our clothes, then we will see who dares not give us gold and silver treasures, then we can extort all the money of those business and travel teams along the way, and there is a lot of money. As soon as Teodi, who loves money like his life, spoke, his eyes flashed, and he was about to turn into the appearance of Bailey's money. What kind of big man did I think he would die like this? Golden Lion didn't hear the other party's voice for a long time, so he naturally thought that Qin Luo, who was always so strong, would have been buried under the pressure of King Kong Bear. After the time is opened, it will become a piece of human work. After all, the strength there is too strong. Hang on a boat to be a man. Let him be bloody on our boat, and no one will oppose us. This is a very interesting. Golden Lion was touched by his own words. Anyway, Luyun, if he is dead, then in line with the principle of making the best use of everything, now turn that person into a human and hang it on the bow of the boat to frighten those little pirates and collect the property in their hands. Captain, Captain. Indigo, a ship's doctor, and a soldier on the ship sang as they patted each other on the shoulders. Hey, you interfered with my observation of the moon. A voice floated out from the smoke. Chapter 334. Is there a moon outside? Did you hear someone talking? Indigo was laughing wildly, but suddenly there seemed to be a faint voice in his ear from where Qin Luo was standing before, causing his back spine to burst. Cool, he said with trembling in his mouth. Who's talking? You must be in a hurry. You haven't slept well these days. You started daydreaming and talking nonsense. Who is talking? Showing disdain and a strong confidence, Qin Luo is dead. The eyes that looked at Indigo were all looking at a weak man. This guy shouldn't wait to be scared to pee his pants. Hey, what you said is true, doesn't it mean that we heard the cry of the dead? Only people with yellow spring fruit in this world can become human again. Teodi looked at Indigo, relieved the other side, the latter still looked stunned and looked suspicious. Yeah, that King Kong bear is so heavy that even a stone will be crushed directly. That person has been crushed to death by the King Kong bear. Dead people can't speak. Indigo changed his attention, and then said, with a fluke look on his face, the person named Luyun just now must be dead. Come out of the moon and let you see how I can kill 240 of these people in one stroke. When Indigo put down his doubts and chose to believe in science and believed that Luyun had been crushed to death by the King Kong bear, a voice came from behind again, as if frost attacked his whole body, making him unable to move. Luyun, that kid is not dead. Indigo's expression was on Golden Lion's face. He learned observation hockey, and naturally he had to listen more clearly than ordinary pirates. Earlier he actually heard the wind, but he would rather choose to believe that Qin Luo was dead. Who's pretending to be a ghost there? Wait for Lao Su to kill you. Teodi was a little skeptical when the boss Golden Lion said so, but Qin Lujun was directly crushed to death by King Kong bear. Certainly can't lie with that bastard. Teodi cried out comfortingly, and then looked at each other with Golden Lion, and went to the pit where King Kong bear smashed. The ground was already cracked, revealing fine spider web lines, spreading out towards the surrounding. Strong the destructive power was like a reassurance pill, which made Teodi's heart calm. This kid must have been directly crushed into pieces by the terrifying strength of King Kong bear. This person is crushed. How can he still talk? Teodi walked up, with a nonchalant expression on his face, brushed away the dust nearby, and looked up to see a hideous face with a huge head. Seeing this face, Teodi almost fainted. That hideous face was unusually familiar, just like the King Kong bear just now. No, isn't this the King Kong bear? How could it die? The King Kong bear is unusually tall, with rough skin and thick flesh. Even if it is knocked in with iron nails, it will only be the iron nails that will soften, not the body piercing of the King Kong bear. The back of Teodi's spine trembled for a while, and the appearance that he was approaching quickly froze. Golden Lion behind him saw this clearly, which made the latter's heart shudder, and the expression on his face was a little uneasy. He wanted to speak and ask what happened. What happened, but I felt too embarrassed. Hey, is there a moon outside? Suddenly Teodi's body moved involuntarily. Struggling was useless, his legs trembled, and he couldn't help but fell to his knees directly on the ground. His hands and feet were covered with mud, and suddenly a big hand grabbed Teodi. Above the neck of the ground. A strong sense of suffocation robbed Teodi of his 5 senses. He opened his eyes and suddenly saw a pair of bright eyes in the dark night, a pair of bright eyes, and a pair of eyes with a cold flame, revealing a cold and merciless expression. Killing intent. This person is not Qin Luo, who else could it be? What am I asking you about? Qin Luo easily lifted Teodi's body, threw it into the air, and made a circle. Suddenly, a strong reasoning directly affected Teodi, and it sprayed out like a cannonball. The beast was right in the direction of the peach land, and it originally wanted to catch the peach land. When Teodi's broad shoulders touched the giant dragon-mouthed horse-body beast, the skin began to wrinkle and sag. The power is endless, and the giant dragon-mouthed horse-body beast seems to have been directly pierced through the body by the powerful force. Teodi opened his eyes and saw Qinluo across the hole from the hole of the giant dragon-mouthed horse-body beast. His heart was suffocated. It was too strong and terrifying. This is not the category of humans, right? Golden Lion's face froze, and he said tremblingly, the original words that were neat are now ineffective, and he was also frightened by Qinluo's formidable combat power. You actually killed me. You can see that the moon tonight is really round. Qinluo still kept the same posture he just said, because if he didn't move, he could kill these people completely, and he was not afraid of them escaping. The strong self-confidence in the body can make the sun and the moon eclipse the color of the sun and the moon, and it is not good for the golden lion to go, and it is not good to not go. You, kill me, give me all the IQ plant animals. I don't believe it. Are you more durable than the strongest terrestrial creature Kaido? You said you were a punching bag. Golden Lion jumped out, reiterated the previous rules with a serious face, and then trapped Qinluo again with a serious face. As long as Qinluo was motionless and could not attack, he would still be a punching bag. As soon as the Golden Lion finished speaking, a huge black shadow fell from the sky. The former opened Doda's eyes and stared at the huge hole for a moment. The ground was a floating island with a depth of 100 meters. It was directly smashed by the dead body of the King Kong bear. The King Kong bear was thrown out by Qinluo, and used the full-level repulsion to bless the King Kong bear, directly piercing the floating island that was not stable. This is still not a person. Indigo stared at everything happening in front of him, as if listening to a fairy tale. Someone actually penetrated the ground. Golden Lion, don't just want to kill me, can you kill me? It's a waste not to see such a beautiful moon. Qinluo released the pressure from his whole body. Golden Lion's body froze for a moment, strong even through the mask. The chill can make him feel very clear. This person is really angry. Chapter 335 Innocent Little Lion. Can I kill him? Golden Lion couldn't help but murmured in his mind, knowing that he originally thought that he would be invincible if he had an IQ creature, but now Qinluo was beaten utterly. But if you don't do it, I'm afraid you won't even have a chance. I will never be able to hold my head up in front of other people for the rest of my life. Must kill Qinluo. I have so many IQ creatures, and their brutality is my greatest guarantee. Golden Lion flew into the air, keeping a safe distance from Qinluo, standing in the sky, once again directing the IQ creature to attack. The IQ creatures waved their sharp claws towards the sky in a graceful attack. The setting sun faded away the golden light, revealing the silvery white moon and black night sky. Shining unusually cold. Suck it. Ganfer was stunned. These monsters are too scary, and it is said that if you want, the blonde-haired man can create more. If these fall on the cute street, I am afraid that a Sky Island resident would be killed. You said you're not allowed to move. Golden Lion laughed wildly. As long as this kid doesn't move, it's a sandbag, just a strong sandbag. I mean don't move. Even if I don't move, I'll kill you. Words were spat out of Qinluo's mouth, and the cold words were knocked in by invisible hammers like rivets. Inside Lion's meninges. Arrogant. If you don't move, you're a cripple. If you move, then I won this game. If I go out and meet everyone, I'll say you lost. Golden Lion showed a rogue look on his face. The expression on his face was extremely high, and the strong fear made him completely crazy. Either I died, or Qinluo died. Golden Lion was fearless. He figured it out clearly. As long as he could still fly, he could escape at any time. Anyway, Qinluo wouldn't move, and the other party would definitely not be able to catch up with him. Of course, it was the last resort. The most important thing now is to kill Qinluo. The swollen golden lion thought for a moment before continuing, "You still want to kill me? It's ridiculous, ridiculous. I won't come near you." In the past, this was the ability that Golden Lion was most afraid of, but the other party's attractive trick must have a range, which was the result of Golden Lion's serious thinking. "Don't come close to me. Is it all right?" Qin Luo said flatly. Only the exposed eye has slowly changed into a six-pointed star, and the blood-colored pupil is under the brilliance of gecko. Like that it made Golden Lion tremble a bit. The blood-colored hexagram writing wheel eye. The cold chill of the forest once again froze the Golden Lion through the mask, and the Golden Lion panicked and let the IQ creatures attack more intensely. The corners of the beast's mouth drooled, and it fell to the ground, smashing the roots and low shrubs to death. The claws of the 30 beasts slammed up a piece of soil under Gecko, and fell from the sky to the person they surrounded, who was motionless. On the man who was slaughtered by the neck, they firmly believed that as long as this slap went down, it was guaranteed to smash this man. They can then avenge the dead King Kong bear. "Little lion, you are also getting old, why are you still so innocent? Innocent and comfortable." Beneath Sen Han's sharp claws, the young man who was unmoved by the wind and rain, layers of silver radiance descended from the sky onto his shoulders, black robes were added, the floating clouds rolled, and a chilling pressure and accumulated murderous aura spread out. So that those creatures who have lost their will and violent are froze at this moment. They looked at the man in front of them in disbelief, especially those charming eyes that shone on them like a full moon in an instant, causing them to lose their minds instantly, and one of them was a slightly more intelligent creature who wanted to shake his head to resist, but before he had time to resist, he directly entered a never-ending dream. All the brutalized IQ creatures stopped attacking preparations in their hands at this moment. Their sharp claws were still in midair, and the cold silver light fell, illuminating them one by one like lifeless wax specimens. This terrifying scene made Indigo almost fall from his spaceship. Indigo looked up at the full moon in the sky, and then looked at Qin Luo's eyes full of strangeness. For some unknown reason, he felt dizzy and confused. Called back, but the next second, he was terribly unconscious. Unlimited monthly reading. Qin Luo spit out a sentence softly. He used his full-level eyes to create a powerful illusion. He used the moon as a medium of communication to create a huge dream that plunged the whole world into it. This was Obito at that time. In order to realize the moon plan of reorganizing the ninja world and controlling the 5 shadows and the world ninja, it can be seen that the ability of this trick is terrible. This time, Golden Lion just happened to send him to an altitude of 100,000 meters. When the sun set and the moon climbed out, Qin Luo fell to the place closest to the moon, and then launched the strongest pupil technique. 0. Qin Luo's relaxed expression revealed a cold killing intent. When it fell in front of Golden Lion, it was like the rebirth of a demon from hell. All the IQ creatures in his hands stopped attacking inexplicably, and they all became dumbfounded. Like an animal without any emotion, the Golden Lion knows it's over. Feeling the icy coldness coming from his feet, Golden Lion floated up and walked towards Qin Luo step by step, one step at a time, and finally turned into a flash of lightning and rushed over. Since his foot was cut off, he tied up his 2 famous knives. The cruelty to the enemy was also used on himself. In order to escape, he did not hesitate to cut off his feet. Then, in order to turn his weakness into an advantage, he practiced the knife on his feet. A sword full of killing intent. Base. Flash of white light, the figure of Golden Lion appeared in front of Qin Luo. Qin Luo was still the same as before. Golden Lion's famous sword was shining brightly by Gecko, and it was placed 1 meter away from Qin Luo. Golden Lion thought to go further but unable to do so. "You only have this strength. It's not as good as the just dead King Kong bear. In short, it's not as good as a beast." Qin Luo spat out a few words from between his teeth, mocking Golden Lion's incompetence, making the latter's face blue. A burst of white. Knife out, knife out. Knife out, knife out. Chapter 336 Red Lord. Even in the face of the mountains of koan cases, the man with a gourd beard and a seagull-like hat on his head seemed to be indifferent to the koan cases. This is the most comprehensive map Marine has ever known. This man is Admiral Sengoku. His brows were furrowed, and his face was full of sorrow. Blue. Mosamoxi. Golden Lion ran away. Huh, why did they let them run away? Did Magellan let it go privately? King Kong's roaring voice. It's sent, people have been sent out to look for it. Garp, Suru, and the new Vice Admiral have all been sent out. However, there is no news for the time being. Standing upright, hunched over the phone bug Vivi, Sengoku looked awe-inspiringly. There is no military salute that does not match Marine's military salute without Marshal Kong in front of him. No news. Marine is all over the world, how can there be no news for such a big target? There is really no news. Could it be that this person can still hide in the sky? Kong guessed doubtfully, but if he goes to the sky, there is really no way to catch the Golden Lion. After all, others are people with fluttering fruits. Over the sea. By the way, I'm not looking for you for this, please, Marshal Kong said after calming his tone, but the stern tone in it didn't change at all. Do you know what the Gorosei 5 elders are really worried about? There's something that even the Gorosei 5 elders are afraid of. Admiral Sengoku shuddered in his heart, as if he had guessed something, and then seemed to have guessed nothing at all. What are you pretending? You must know. It is said that these guys have been very active recently. They have gone to sea to search for historical texts for more than 4 years. If they really find something, Gorosei 5 elders and Tenryubito will probably be completely furious, like sitting on pins and needles. Said Marshal Kong. Seeing that Sengoku didn't answer, Marshal Kong pretended to knock on the table. Now the Golden Lion has escaped from prison, the clouds are haunting, and the Revolutionary Dragon is also active. These unstable factors make the Gorosei 5 elders gang restless. If those people unite with the old guys in O'Hara, it will be over. The guys from CP9 have already moved, and they have detected that the guys who have been at sea for 4 years are preparing to detour the capital of 7 Waters and return to O'Hara. Hala, send someone to intercept and assist CP9. It is said that there is also a Golden Lion over there. You did a better job for me this time. You wait at my mansion and take away the Buster Call. Remember to bring the Golden Lion. Arrest me too. Buster Call. Are you really going to dispatch that thing? Marine justice doesn't allow anyone to violate it. The old guys told me so. If it wasn't for Luyun's tossing, how could the Gorosei 5 elders be so nervous? How could we use this thing? Block O'Hara. If you resist, slaughter the entire island. Marine orders. Do you want to disobey military orders? I dare not. The New World, a small island in the Great Root. This small island is all red volcanic lava, but a prosperous town has rarely appeared on the ground. The buildings here have a peculiar style, and it turned out that seastone held up the bottom of the house was built abruptly on the fire slurry. There is a quaint bar here, with 2 candles lit to the left and right of the bar, shining brightly. Hongju, how's our deal? This is a man with a big belly in the box asked respectfully. Opposite him, he is extremely respectful alone, wearing a black cape all over his body, with a bat cape collar showing on his shoulders. He has a distinguished status, his hands are slender, his skin is as white porcelain, and he holds a glass of blood-red wine in his hands. A shake that brings this age-old wine back to life. You are the man who claims to be able to face Roger and Golden Lion by yourself, the legendary pirates. You help me find the design drawings that can decipher Hades. We will give you double the price now, which is 1 billion Baileys. The pot-bellied man gave a sly smile. Okay, deal. The black cloak, lined with fiery red plush, showed a grim smile. That arrogant expression showed that he was already extremely disgusted to chat with this person. As long as this person dared to stay for 1 more second, he would definitely kill him. After the dark arms dealer left, a flame flashed in Hongju's arrogant eyes. Did that woman finally appear? Sky Island. Lion Chikiri Valley. After all the crazy cuts of Golden Lion were ineffective, he was completely angry. He just didn't understand why the man in front of him was so powerful. He jumped into the air, and the swordsmanship under his feet condensed divine power. The only man in the splatter launched the strongest blow. Sword and sword shadow. The knife fell, and in just a short moment, it seemed that 1,000 knives appeared at the same time waving and slashing at Qin Luo. Without giving Qin Luo time or room to resist, the 1,000 knives fell, and no one fell into any corner. Wrapped in Qin Luo's crazy hacking. 5.8. The ground of the floating island began to crack slowly, and Qin Luo's surroundings had already become bare. Just like the herbivorous gluttonous beast walking through a meadow, no grass is left, even the grass roots are provoked by the roots, cut off, turned into dust, and fell into the soil. Bang! Interesting. The protective cover was shattered, and in the middle of the crazy blade, there was still the man in the black robe and the rolling clouds. Qin Luo's eyes quietly opened, and the only pupil that was exposed was full of forest. Lang killing intent. However, I said that I want you to die, it will not let you live through the second watch. I will kill you. The bigger the golden lion is, the more maddened he is. Since he escaped from the deep-sea prison and cut off his legs, the only thought to support him to live is to find someone to take revenge, to find the one who joins forces with Marine to deal with him to take revenge. Yun must smash that person into tens of thousands of pieces in order to relieve the hatred of the heart. Chapter 337. Not moving at all. After a while, the crazy blade cut open the protective cover and stabbed Qin Luo's heart directly, and Qin Luo said that he would stay still. Golden lion stabbed. Qin Luo didn't move. Base. The golden lion swept the power of 1,000 knives, and the violent wind swept the grass and trees behind him into the sky, forming a long tornado-like dragon behind him. The powerful whirlwind force applied from behind the golden lion to the whole body, and a force was transmitted from the meridians to the feet. His feet trembled violently, and he stabbed straight in. Facing the hurricane of the golden lion, Qin Luo kept his promise and remained motionless. Ground was cracked inch by inch, and the strong wind around the golden lion's bursting blow had formed a large storm. The ground was continuously rolled up and blown into the sky, and the trees were swept into the clouds by the residual wind. The momentum is huge, the energy is monstrous, thousands of knives are swept up, and the grass and trees are flying for thousands of miles. Why did you meet such a stupid opponent? 17. You could have easily avoided my total, and you could have used your powerful ability to counterattack me, but the reality is that you didn't move. God help me kill you. The sound of cutting metal sounded, and Golden Lion's face was flushed red, obviously the aftereffect of weakness after using too much force. He gasped for breath, and his back was wet. As soon as the words of Golden Lion fell, the 1,000 knives that were originally mighty were annihilated directly in just a few seconds. I don't know where they went. A gust of wind blew past, and the flying debris was blown away, revealing a white cheek. The boy with the eyes of Xingmei and Zhanmu incited the black robe to roll and the auspicious clouds to flow. Ha! Our captain is invincible, and we beat that Roger and the Red Earl to the ground. Lu Yun. Indigo clapped his palms and walked out, and the expression on his face changed, and his pupils instantly changed. The contraction is like the tip of a needle, and the words in the mouth that want to hurt Qin Luo are swallowed directly. Hey, you're too weak. You can't hurt a single hair on me. Qin Luo deftly shook the wind and dust away, and protected him with repulsion. Even if he didn't move, his whole body was still clean and unstained, just like a fairy who had left the world and was independent of the world. Why didn't you die? Obviously, with a pale face, Golden Lion couldn't say anything. He really tried his best to kill his opponent just now, but he didn't expect that even such a powerful attack would hit him. Personally, it was unscathed. The Golden Lion was retreating step by step, and even though it was already in midair, it still drifted back step by step uneasy, with a look of horror on its face. Qin Luo's eyes narrowed, his blue eyes had already been covered with a layer of frost, and Ling Lai was chilling. Brightly broke my protective shield, obviously stabbed my heart with a knife, obviously didn't see me using haki. Oh, do you want me to tell you? Qin Luo's words were flat and soft, as if he was talking about something that had nothing to do with him. Luo rubbed his hands together, and a playful expression appeared on his face. Even with a layer of mask, he could make the other party feel the coldness. What? You're afraid of me? I won't tell you. I won't take action. Luo raised his mouth lightly, evoking a sly and cold smile. The exposed pupil of the three-go jade unexpectedly spun inexplicably after a moment. It infiltrated people strangely. I want you to not see my action, but I have already slashed you with 1,000 swords. Do you believe me? Luo said word by word, as if he was declaring Golden Lion's crime. He read it out carefully, fearing that Golden Lion would not understand. Luyun God, to be honest, this time is really a misunderstanding. I originally planned to catch that Gonfuer and teach him a lesson. The latter stared at Golden Lion for a moment, his face covered with a layer of frost that penetrated the mask. Misunderstanding. That's a huge misunderstanding. Luo chuckled, his pupils flowed, and the three-hook jade flipped over and over again. This action fell into Golden Lion's eyes. Golden Lion's expression changed greatly, and he saw through Luo's this time. The attack, but the powerful pupils that can control that giant IQ monster. Perhaps you haven't tried to be blown away by such a big man with a punch. Glancing at Golden Lion coldly, he showed a sad expression, and the double-hook jade in his pupils turned. Ho-a-ho. This is Luo's infinite moon reading through the plan of the moon, which directly tamed and controlled the violent monsters who were not strong enough. After Luo gave an order through the writing wheel, those violent monsters, the guys are already hungry and thirsty. Luo's voice just fell, and the surrounding IQ creatures made embattled voices, roaring wildly. A lot of saliva flowed from the corners of their mouths, and fell to the ground, almost 3 seconds, and flew towards the Golden Lion in a neat and uniform manner. Run over. I said, even if I don't move, I can put you to death. Luo showed a sly smile. You lied to me. You didn't move. How could you kill me? I still have more than 30 IQ creatures. Don't brag too much. Golden Lion said contemptuously in his heart. Also intend to abide by the rules. What's the difference with those pedantic little old men? He has analyzed that Luo is an attractive force and a repulsive force, and a fist can break the boat, but facing his IQ biological army, this person is a trash fish. The IQ creature is the source of his maximum 123. Would you like me to tell you? Luo put his hands in his mouth, making a whistle, beeping twice, and 2 giant beasts rushed out of the spot, and the flying python flew into the sky and collided with the Golden Lion. In the end, it is about to take down the Golden Lion. Luyun God, we really misunderstood. Hey, what's wrong with them? Why are they rushing towards me? Golden Lion stared at the scene in front of him in a stunned manner. He used to obey his giant IQ monsters, but now it rushed towards him madly. This is definitely not what a dog wants to throw down, it's trying to eat it. Just by looking at their eyes, you can tell that these white-eyed wolves will bite people if they turn their guns. But why would these giant beasts listen to him? Misunderstanding. You said just now that you wanted to hang my body on a pirate ship and make it a human. When I saw Roger's hand against this person, I once forgave this person, but this person didn't cherish it. Why should I give you another chance? Luo gave an order and spit out the word, attack, just like the god of death urging his life. The 30 IQ monsters sent a shock stronger than an earthquake, and a fist fell. Golden Lion used the fluttering fruit, flying up, dodged, but there was a chill on Dodge's back. Chapter 338 I don't make friends with non-me races. Thump. The giant fist of the giant beast fell, and the fist fell to the ground, directly smashing a big pit out of the ground. The fine lines of the spider web quickly spread, the grass and trees flew, and the smoke billowed like a dragon. The Golden Lion was flying in the air, avoiding the attacks of more than 20 powerful IQ creatures on land, but the rest of the 9-headed flying IQ creatures were unusually powerful. Just as the Golden Lion was concentrating on the hands of the 9-headed flying IQ creatures, the ground was a strong one. With a flash of light, using the fluttering fruit, it flashed dangerously, and Golden Lion's golden beard was scorched to black. Between the electric light and flint, Golden Lion had to face the electric light attack just now, and then he had to face the flying stone attack, as well as the water arrow, the long snake, and the flying python. Bye-bye, Lu Yun, we will have no plans in the future. Facing so many IQ creatures, the Golden Lion became more and more dwarfed. Trouble. Golden Lion flew away, the impatience on Qin Luo's face, the gravitational force acting on Golden Lion, the latter's fluttering fruit was ineffective, and he lay directly on the ground. The suppressed Golden Lion stared at the ground in amazement, but before he could react, his body became unbalanced, and his body fell on his head. Fortunately, the soil on the ground was relatively soft, and he plunged his head into a blur of mud. Bah! Golden Lion threw a dog's shit, and he didn't know which IQ creature pulled it out. Dozens of giant creatures who wanted to rape Golden Lion landed there in a random pattern, lifted the Golden Lion that was being held down on the ground, and escorted it to Qin Luo. Why do you still want to run? Qin Luo didn't move half a point from the beginning to the end. His tone was calm and passionate, and a little more impatience. It was this impatience that made Golden Lion horrified. Even if he couldn't see Qin Luo's face, I can also feel the coldness on Qin Luo's face. No, it's all a misunderstanding. Aren't my IQ creatures going to give it to you? I'm just about to test their abilities, so that I can confirm it and deliver it to Lu Yunshan. Lu Yunshan really doesn't have any. Understand that I am wholehearted. Golden Lion is notoriously thick-skinned. This kind of improvisation is easy for him. He can also talk and laugh all the time, while killing people without blinking an eye. Misunderstanding. Didn't you say you wanted to take my head to receive the reward? My head is 2.5 billion Baileys. Qin Luo let out a sigh of relief. His ice blue pupils concealed a surging murderous intent. The other party when Qin Luo said this, his back felt a chill, like falling into an ice cellar. The expression on Golden Lion's face was very rich. Who the hell is so immoral? Who wants to betray his friends and seek glory? I hate such sleazy people the most in my life. I am different. I and Lu Yun God are best friends. I'm so old. I don't need to take my own life to make a joke, right? This is life. Golden Lion muttered at the bottom of his heart. In order to survive, what is it to lose face? If there is no small life, that is a big loss. Best friend. Qin Luo's icy tone burst out. His mind moved, and he directly stepped on the giant beasts on both sides through the writing wheel, and the suppressed Golden Lion didn't dare to breathe out. Golden Lion regretted it to death, and wanted to move his hands a little, but the IQ creature squeezed violently, causing him to scream. Why didn't he investigate clearly and then start with Qin Luo? This kid is just a pervert. Roger is just lucky. This kid's strength is too unbelievable. It seems that the last move will be used later, but with that move, I am afraid that Sky Island will be broken into pieces. In order to survive, you can't care about the lives of others. The resentment hidden in Golden Lion's eyes was revealed inadvertently. He glanced at the towering cardamom vines, and the corners of his mouth gradually curved. Lu Yun God, then we are not close friends, we are good friends. No, we are ordinary people. Golden Lion restrained his resentment and thickened his face, but as soon as he opened his mouth, Qin Luo froze again. Let the giant beast step on his back directly, and the sound of crackling bones is very clear. I don't make friends with non-me races. Qin Luo's palms clenched tightly, his icy eyes flashed with lore. He just patted his palms and he could crush this person's whole body directly. But he saw it just now. The intense resentment in this person's eyes made Qin Luo want to see what tricks this kid can play. Gently turning the three-hooked jade in his pupils, his eyes shone with a few rays of brilliance instantly. Qin Luo didn't bother to kill the Golden Lion like this, but now the only way to do it is to borrow these giant beasts. He just gave the order to these giant beasts through the shaker to kill the Golden Lion. Ah, misunderstanding. God Lu Yun, I promise you anything you want. Golden Lion almost suffocated in his chest. These words came straight out of the gap between his teeth. Golden Lion, now spitting out a mouthful of blood, in his messy hair. What I want is nothing more than your life. Chin Luo's serious three-go jade changed and complicated in an instant, and he checked the six-pointed star. The 30 beasts present raised their heads and screamed in pain, with a powerful force. Outputting from 30 fierce beasts, the sharp claws shone terrifyingly in Gecko. Lu Yun God, you let me go, I'll give it to you. Golden Lion's chest became more and more suffocated, his face blushed, and the original resentment turned into a flame and burned. He got up, was burnt to ashes, and was blown into the air. The shadow of death made him tremble. Kill him. Chin Luo lightly opened his thin lips and spit out 3 cold words, as if these 3 words were said without any meaning. Ah! At this moment, there was a sharp scream in the sky. Chin Luo looked up at the sky, looked up at a 45-degree angle, and a huge miniature of the hull fell into Chin Luobing's blue pupils. What appeared in the vision was a relatively retro ship. The huge lower hull fell down right at Chin Luo's position. Chin Luo's thoughts flashed in his heart, and he glanced at the Golden Lion who was almost suffocated. After realizing something, he waved his hand at will, letting the rest of the people let go of the Golden Lion. Ah, help! The hull fell very fast, from far to near. When it was far away, it looked like a shadow, and then it became a giant, but compared to the so-called giant, every IQ plant here is no worse than that. The size of a ship. What? Someone is on the boat. Chin Luo had just heard the voice. It was a woman's voice, and he couldn't help but make a judgment in his heart. Even if such a big heavy object fell, Chin Luo did not move, his face was indifferent, and the exposed eyes just glanced at the sky and didn't look again. Chapter 339 Hand-Holding Pirate Ship. Lu Yun, go away. Ganfuer's face became anxious. He had seen those pirate ships from the Blue Sea before being swept into the Bye-Bye Sea by the updraft, and then smashed down, directly killing the island clouds on the ground. Possibly smashed through. If Lu Yun stood in the middle, wouldn't he be smashed to death later? Ganfuer's words made Chin Luo Vivi look up, only to hear Chin Luo say in a flat tone, "Get out of the way." No, do you want to carry it by yourself again? The expression on Ganfu's face was extremely embarrassing. The emperor dared not to rush to kill the eunuch, but he still believed in Chin Luo and sat down. Pierre flew out with a long whistle, avoiding the hull range. Rumble. Like a pitch-black lead bullet, the hull flew down towards Chin Luo with a loud bang, and the high-pressure airflow was blowing, making Chin Luo's mask screeching loudly. Hey, God Lu Yun, hurry up, move me away. If I don't move, I will die, and you definitely won't be able to find benefits from the dead. Feeling the pressure on his chest gradually loosening, he turned around. The Golden Lion, who came from God, looked up and saw a projection falling from the sky. It smashed towards his head right in the middle. How can this be done? He is dying of Golden Lion. Chin Luo didn't say a word. His cold eyes pierced Golden Lion's heart like knives, causing the latter to wake up for a few minutes, and his whole body was agitated. He happened to see Chin Luo staring blankly at the sky at an angle of 45 degrees. Scoff. A shattered plywood slammed into the ground like a javelin, and the Golden Lion, who was closest to the target, was so frightened that it seemed like a rooster had been plucked, and it was chilling. Hey, are you a wolf-hearted person? Why don't you do me a favor? Golden Lion came back to his soul, and his whole body was awakened. His face was blue and white, his teeth were gnashing, and he was about to eat people. Roaring towards Chin Luo, what's your intention? I was almost stabbed by the boat board. If you don't give me a hand, when the time comes, I'll see you. Golden Lion was stabbed by the rudder over his shoulder, and he has an unforgettable memory. This time he was almost pierced by the ship's board, just like the misfortune he encountered in the past. Once bitten, twice shy. Oh, what do you think I should do? With a cold voice, Chin Luo held up one hand. Without raising his eyes, a boundless full-level repulsion emanated from his hands and sprinted up. Boom! Under the action of the gravitational acceleration of the ship's weight, it fell with a strong hurricane, and the high-pressure flow quickly passed from both sides of the ship, and the boundless repulsion controlled by Chin Luo shot up into the sky. The hull and repulsion collide in midair. A huge sound came from the hull, and the surrounding clouds were directly shattered, and then swept up by a strong air pressure flow, and the clouds in the sky were completely cleaned up. The huge sea ship was still falling, and the roaring sea beast rushed down frantically, but the repulsion force did not stop him directly. Luyun, run! Ganfuer tightened the reins in his hand and looked at the mysterious man directly under the sea-going ship. He couldn't help but feel extremely anxious. The power is even more unknown. The manpower is meager. Do you want to fight against this hull? There was only one result, and that was shattering. Ganfuer looked nervously at Qin Luo, who was motionless. He thought that the latter was still insisting on the so-called nonsense promise of motionless motion. Boom! The hull encountered the obstruction of repulsion, and did not stand still. The huge pressure compressed the air between Qin Luo and the hull. The surrounding hurricane was like a dragon, the clouds were smashed, and the giant beasts rushed to escape. Wow wow God! In the midst of thousands of panics, I saw the man in the black robe and the surging clouds gently raised his arms, with a natural demeanor, his gestures exuding awe-inspiring majesty. You're going to die, let me go. You're a lunatic. Golden Lion's face was full of panic, his pupils shrunk as big as pinholes. He does have the ability to single out Roger and the Red Earl, but that is also based on his invincible ability to stay in the air and entangle with the opponent through the ability to stay in the air. What is it now? The moment Qin Luo raised his hand, he knew that this lunatic was definitely planning to catch the hull with his own hands. Isn't this colliding with the tin boat with his own head? How can there be a lunatic like Qin Luo in the world? The repulsion force was thousands of miles, and it supported the huge hull that flew down in parallel. In an instant, the static motion was directly completed in midair, as if the sea water supported the flying pirate ship. You should. Golden Lion's face was full of anger, and he was about to refute a few words, but the next scene almost made Golden Lion's eyeballs fall. The hull seemed to fall into Qin Luo's hands quietly. The fleshy palm was less than 6 inches in size, but he actually supported the hull, which was 400 square meters and weighs over 1,000 kilograms. The audience was shocked. Even the sound of the wind blowing in the air could be heard clearly. The originally turbulent hurricane turned into a breeze in an instant. Ganfuer and Golden Lion are collectively petrified. Is this person a freak? Golden Lion remembered that this person destroyed the world government, destroyed the Holy Land, and killed the Gorosei 5 elders. Isn't that one thing that caused a sensation in the world? On the other hand, today, gently holding a large boat that weighs over 1,000 pounds, it seems that there is nothing. Golden Lion's face was extremely ugly. How did he get into such a tyrannical bully? The bowels of regret are all green, and when I was used as a gunman, forbearance passed. Why do I still have to do it? Before, if we didn't take advantage of these so-called IQ creatures, wouldn't we be done? But it's too late now, don't regret it. Who is the ship that fell off? Qin Luo's expression was as usual, and the plain words came out from under the mask. Seeing no one answered, the exposed hexagram's eyes were fixed on Golden Lion's body. Say, Golden Lion, what is your intention? You actually want to use the hull to murder me? Qin Luo said in a cold tone, holding a behemoth that was not in proportion to himself at all, as relaxed as holding a plate. What motives can I have? Golden Lion's face was flustered, his eyes were rolling, and he was searching for a reason. This ship was originally his flying pirate ship with the fluttering fruit, but because of his panic and disorder just now, the hull was out of control and flew down. This was a mistake, he really didn't expect to kill him with the hull. Oh, I forgive you, but I don't dare. Qin Luo didn't continue to entangle, you just said that I can give me anything I want, right? Chapter 340 The Vice Captain can't, you can only be my little brother. Quote. After the fall, settle accounts. Mom sells it. Golden Lion's face was very suffocated, and he felt as uncomfortable as eating shit, but there were still some things he had to say. Yes, as long as you don't want my life, I will have Golden Lion's life, and you can deal with it as you want. Golden Lion endured the humiliation and made a great determination in his heart to say such words, but Chin Luo's silent expression made Golden Lion think of a mother-to-cell ratio, and he was very resentful towards Chin Luo, but at this moment, Chin Luo will definitely humiliate people to the extreme with the attitude of a winner. Hey, Huluopingyang was bullied by a dog, so it should be regarded as being bullied by his own son. Q's mentally exploding Golden Lion bit his lip and said, "Okay, Lu Yunshin, I will be the crew member of the second ship. On your ship." In order to survive, Golden Lion did not hesitate to risk his future honor. Chin Luo didn't look at all, and still held the hull firmly in his hands. "Oh, what did you say? I didn't hear it clearly," Chin Luo said with a cold expression on his face. "You bastard, I definitely heard this. Now I want him to repeat it again. I want to humiliate him. I hate him so much, and I swear that when he finally survives, if there is a chance, he will kill Chin Luo." Really knocked out a tooth and swallowed it in his stomach, Golden Lion's face was red as paper, and he said with shame, "I will be the crew member of your floating cloud pirate ship in the future." "Well, you are my crew member. What qualifications do you have to be my crew member?" Chin Luo laughed out loud when he heard the words, and forcibly held back his smile. How could this Golden Lion be so virtuous? Really laughing, Chin Luo is about to hold back his internal injuries. How embarrassing this kind of thing is. "I can lead the fleet to attack Marineford, lead the fleet to guard Mermaid Island, fight against Marine, and defeat the revolutionary dragon." Golden Lion's face turned terrifyingly purple. "The legendary pirate of Laozi, I want to be the leader of your fleet, vice captain. Do you think I am not qualified?" The old face of Golden Lion has also been sacrificed. As long as he survives, he will have a lot of opportunities to kill Lu Yun in the future. With this thought in his heart, he will naturally not have any excessive reaction to Chin Luo's current humiliation. The important thing is to save yourself. "Well, I will take back the life I want from you, and the rest of your life will belong to me." Chin Luo was sly-ish, showing a fox-like look. He took Golden Lion as his younger brother, and formed a team of floating cloud pirates by himself. The chores are Golden Lion. "I just promised you to be your deputy captain, but I didn't promise you, I will give you the rest of my life." Golden Lion felt chest tightness and was about to suffocate. But the next sentence, "I am afraid that the Golden Lion will be destroyed." "Why don't you want to be a handyman on my boat?" Chin Luo coldly highlighted a few words. There was no reluctance in his tone, and the cold air blew over people, making everyone shudder. Chin Luo had already thought about it for a long time. The Golden Lion will never surrender in earnest. "I'm afraid there is no plot. I just don't know what this guy is plotting. So feel free to humiliate the Golden Lion." This shop. Seeing the shriveled appearance of Golden Lion, Chin Luo was seriously injured while holding back his laughter. Am I not the vice captain?" Golden Lion couldn't hold it any longer. "Go to his motherfuckers. I am Golden Lion, the proud and independent Golden Lion, the captain of the flying pirate ship." However, the huge animal claws on his chest and the feeling of suffocation made him pour cold water over his head. "In the end, I chose to be soft. Co-captain. No, co-captain is not suitable for you. You are more suitable to be a younger brother." Chin Luo's face was as usual, and his chest hurt when he laughed. This kid actually wanted to use IQ creatures to plot against himself, but he didn't expect to be plotted against himself. It's really a live teaching class that steals chickens and can't lose rice. Please don't imitate them. Why, you're very reluctant. Chin Luo's tone was flat. For those who want to kill him, Chin Luo will definitely use his own way to treat them, and he will never be merciful, so Golden Lion has only become a my own crew member. This is already a big bargain. If this kid pushes 3 and 4, he might as well just kill him. The chilling murderous aura was released, condensed like a substance, making the listener's face stiff, like falling into an ice cellar. Yes, why don't you want to? Golden Lion had already felt the killing on Chin Luo's body, and he couldn't help but tremble, and his whole body was full of embarrassment. Well, I don't care about you killing me with these IQ creatures, and you want to kill me by dropping a boat from a high altitude. Do you think this is satisfied? Qin Luo naturally wanted to sell the other side some face when he saw that the other party was soft. Satisfied. Golden Lion's face was dull. Big brother, you can do what you want. Why do you want to ask little brother? It was as if he had experienced a battle of life. He was the biggest loser, and the loser had to accept all the punishments of the winner. But his heart was full of resentment, thinking about all kinds of vicious schemes to kill Qin Luo. After all, as long as you get close to Qin Luo, there are plenty of chances to kill Qin Luo. Well, since you said you're satisfied, then your boat belongs to me. Qin Luo shook off the 1,000-pound hull in his hand, and then turned around, as if a ball fell into Qin Luo's hands. That's it. This action made Golden Lion's complexion change greatly. What kind of character is this Luyun? It's so powerful, it's really planted. 0. A crushing defeat. You, get on the boat for me, and present all your treasures to me. Qin Luji gave orders like a captain, directing his younger brother Golden Lion to work hard. Qin Luo let the surrounding IQ creatures make way, and then floated the boat just above. Then he floated the Golden Lion into the air, took off and landed in a few breaths, and landed on the pirate ship. The pirate flag on the pirate ship was extremely strange, and it didn't look like an ordinary pirate flag. I saw a white flag fluttering in the wind on the pole of the boat. Above the white flag was an ancient tree with intertwined roots. A skull was painted on the upper right corner, which became the embellishment of the picture of this ancient tree. Golden Lion looked at Qin Luo's leaking hand. His face was as usual, and his heart was astonished. How could Qin Luo even flutter fruit? It's easy to explain the liftoff, and Marine's Renkyaku Tempest Kick can also be used together with shaving to achieve this effect, but if there is no floating fruit, it is almost a joke to want to float a ship like this. Led by Golden Lion, Qin Luo walked into the cabin, looking for the treasures inside. The mottled gecko sprinkled down, and a lot of afterglow fell here, shining in from the outside, making the originally dark room a little light.